All right, welcome everybody. Give me 1 second here and we'll get started. All right. So this is, I kind of warned you guys, it's going to be a long one, and it has to be. There's a lot to cover. I mentioned 2 hours, and I hopefully it'll be a little shorter than that, but it could be, and I wanted to let people know that that was possible. And I do feel that it is definitely worth it. Um, there are many things in life that I have not yet mastered. Uh, Many mistakes have been made in my life, professionally and personally, but one thing that I am very good at is systems. And it's powerful. I mean, it's powerful to be able to plug into a system. And by the way, I wasn't always good at it. I made a lot of mistakes when I first started systems. And I think it was that process of working so hard at putting systems together. By the way, it was Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant in the 90s that got me really excited about the idea of having a business system that can be working for you and give you freedom. And when I think about these kinds of things, guys, it's an emotional thing for me, and I think a lot of people like they miss that piece. Like it's like logical, but they miss the emotional, really compelling, almost spiritual part of it. When I think of systems and what it can provide for me, which is really what gave me the energy and the wherewithal to stick to it and figure this out decades ago, I think of everything that's important to me. I think of everything that matters and the free time and I think of like right now my daughter goes to a really nice school that I can send her to, and getting them out of a really bad neighborhood 10 years ago. And by the way, they were in a really bad neighbor, and I mean really bad. I mean there was a crack house or a meth lab across the street. My car got stolen twice. I won't tell you what was in the front seat, when when the police found it and it was returned. I mean, we're talking a really tough place, and they were going to a school that was a really tough place, and it was really hard on me. But I was putting all of my money. I was making good money. People in the network marketing industry thought I was so successful, but I was putting everything into systems and learning and my teams, and my kids were young enough where I felt like it would be okay, and it was. It turned out to be, I think, okay, just in time. I got them out of there and got them into an amazing neighborhood where, when they moved in the very first day, the next door neighbors came over, knocked on the door, introduced themselves. 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old girl next door, introduced themselves. These are things that just wouldn't happen in the neighborhood I came from. Uh, so, I mean, these are the kinds of things I think about. Now, I'm assuming if you're here, there is an emotional, compelling reason why that drives you. It's unusual. A lot of people go for the status quo. I never personally understood it, but I accept it. Uh, you must be different, but only you know what it is that makes you different, what it is that drives you. I can't know what that is. Maybe it's just helping people, and I don't mean just. I mean maybe it's not some of these other things that were so important to me. Maybe it's you simply love helping other people get those things, and that's what gets you going. I wanted to start this out with that because when we look at this screenshot right now of I'm just showing Ethereum. I just wanted to talk about what's happening in the market before we began because so much has transpired since we talked last. When we look at screenshots like this, I want people to understand that it's not about money, and it's not just about crypto, and it's not just about capitalizing on the greatest transference of wealth we've ever seen, and all of that's cool, but it's what's driving all of that and driving us to be here. And I think a lot of times we look at snapshots like this and we get into the nuts and bolts of what I'm covering today with the system and what we're about to launch and the nitty gritty, and we forget that part because it sounds like it's just information. And we only like taking 10% of really remembering what we're doing and why we're here. So I just wanted to start that out and just like ask you guys, why in the heck are you here? I'm always in touch with it. That's what's driving me. If you're wondering, I put everything into it. I take huge risks. Why? Because there's this huge drive to accomplish something more than the status quo. I could have easily accepted a very good financial life a long time ago, but here I am, and a lot of you saw me publicly fail recently. In business, I make mistakes all the time. In business, I have all my life. That's how I got to where I got. And I do it, I'm totally unafraid. You guys don't have to live that way. You don't have to operate that way. But there's a certain element of, having faith and going for it that has to be there at some level or another. And I'm assuming if you're here, you have that. I just want you to be in touch with that. I want you to know that's where success comes from. Everyone I've ever met and every interview I've ever seen, or I'm sure you've ever seen, when the interviewer is good and they get to the nuts and bolts of underneath all of it, like Elon Musk comes to mind. I remember him crying in an interview when the interviewer was asking him, why did you like sell your houses? And he'd been a multi millionaire, and he almost had lost everything trying to get SpaceX and Tesla off the ground. And he thought for sure they were going to fail. It was that bad. And he was down to selling his last property and everything he had. And the guy had asked, and the interviewer had asked him, maybe some of you saw this interview. It just really struck me. Just that this is everybody that's ever done anything from the top to you name it. And they asked him, why would you do that? Why would you risk everything? And he started to cry. And he said, when your baby's hungry, do you think twice about feeding them? With tears coming out of his eyes. Now, I'm not even anywhere near that level of an emotional connection to my work. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, like, yeah, it's what it takes. And again, few of us have the drive and that emotional connection to what we do, like Elon. I don't think I'm anywhere close to it, but I know that I am even in an unusual group of being able to like just feel it and always feel it and always be in touch with it. I want to start this out because everything that I covered today needs to fit into that for you. Like it needs to be emotional for you. Nothing. I can give you the best system in the world. I can do almost all the grunt work, all this stuff. I just want you guys to understand, for some reason or another, if a person doesn't bring that piece at least a little consistently, I never see anything really happen. They just don't show up enough. They just don't follow through enough. They just don't listen well enough. They're just not engaged enough. So I know you have it or you wouldn't be here. So I just want to remind you to stay in touch with that and to understand that that's what it really all comes down to in the end. Okay, so I didn't even know I was going to talk about that, but I looked at this boring screen and I just thought, this isn't what it's about. It's about something much deeper. Okay, so when we look at this screenshot, you guys have been seeing this, right? Ethereum's up 25% in the last week. It's been nice to see. It was looking, it was looking a little grim, wasn't it? I don't know about you guys. I mean, anyone that goes all in on stuff like I have, it's rough. I saw a picture of a guy in a space suit. Maybe some of you saw this circulating around. A guy in a space suit laying on his mattress, looking really bummed out, and it said, this is what it's like when you put all of your resources into crypto, because he's of course waiting for it all to go to the moon, but you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And so when the market went down, and a lot of us went into the crypto Autobot, and we liked what the company stood for, and it was so exciting. When I first started the Autobot, and I think a lot of you experienced this too, when I first started, it was just awesome. I mean, like green everywhere. You can see how when it's going up, that the Autobot just works like incredibly well. But then very quickly, the market just tanked. It just tanked, and it kept tanking. And you can tell yourself over and over again, well, it's going to turn back around and stuff, but it's tough. Like it's tough when you enter at the top of a market and it's tanking and it keeps tanking. But I learned a lot through that process, and I think a lot of you did too. And now we're seeing it turn around, and it's exciting. But the thing is, I try to temper all of this. We see it going up. I see my favorite altcoins and cryptos going up. Things are starting to turn around. Of course, a lot of the experts, for those of you that are following this, are saying that it's not a confirmed bull market yet. There hasn't been time for it to be. I mean, it could be a bull market, but there's no way through technicals to show that yet, just based on where everything's at with the timing. People think maybe we hit a bottom. Some people are still arguing it could go a little lower, but even they are saying then it's going to go way sky high. So I'm ready for that, and you guys should be too. It could adjust back down, scare everybody, even go real low, but according to all the experts, then spring back up. And I think most of us know, that that's the case. I do want to say, because I have to, not a financial advisor, as you guys know that. don't want to be, don't want to pretend to be. I'm with you guys as peers sharing when we talk about the Bitcoin and the altcoin and Ethereum and the market and trends. We're sharing just among peers on those topics, but you shouldn't take what I say as advice on those topics. What you can take as advice from me is everything I talk about with marketing and systems and generating affiliate commissions and tapping into reaching a huge market and being able to leverage, really simple mechanisms that are wrapped up into this thing I'm going to show you today, and be able to empower a lot of people and empower yourself at the same time. So that's what I'll be going over. But I just wanted to kind of touch base on, yeah, cool. The market's shifting around. That's awesome. I was thinking it would be about now. Yes, it's not confirmed turning into a bull market, but I'm hearing a lot of people are turning the HPSI bots on. I'm not recommending anything, but I am turning mine back on, and it's beautiful because one time it was all red and now it's all green. So you can see how people early in CWE who had that bot turned on, in December and January, just must have been just having a heyday. And personally, again, I'm not telling you this is going to happen, but personally, I'm looking forward to that happening again this year, and that's what I'm anticipating. But again, that's not advice. So I invited you here to kind of go over the system that we're about to launch, to dive a little deeper than I think we ever have before, about what it's aiming to do. This is a more comprehensive system than many of you, probably any of you, have seen me build, except for maybe the one with Renegade Professional in 2008 that took me about 6 months, 18 hours a day to build. I don't have the luxury to spend 6 months full time, double time, and do nothing else with the crypto market as it is right now. I think that was a little bit more comprehensive, but this is pretty comprehensive as well. And I'm a lot more experienced with systems. That was my first real successful online system, second, but real successful online system. And so I had a lot of experience since then. That was about 10 years ago. So while this isn't maybe as comprehensive in terms of development, in actual psychology and just understanding marketing and triggers and just really simple stuff, but just powerful stuff, I think this has actually got a lot more built into it. I want to cover some of those things. I want you guys to understand what makes a system powerful, so you're not just using it, unknowing of what makes it work, because my systems are not glossy, they're not polished, the slides aren't amazing looking, and I always think, well, I'm going to add that later, but I never need to. It's so funny. I always think, okay, I'm going to throw it together. And I used to teach this: just throw it together, keep the main thing the main thing with your systems or your presentations and so forth. Don't get caught up in the time-consuming stuff and hiring people to make things look amazing, because that's really not what it's about. It's about solving a problem. It's about knowing who your audience is, what their problem is, finding a hungry audience that's really driven, and solving their problem. And if you can do that, it doesn't matter if it's messy. As long as you're doing that, nobody cares. But if people take too long putting their stuff together, second guessing themselves, trying to make it look too perfect, by the time you get it out, the market's changed. You got it. Speed of implementation is really, really important, which is what brings us together today, by the way. I've been really, really bogged down. I know I shared this with a lot of you on Facebook. Been really, really bogged down just because we're launching this thing with 407 people ready to go. It's actually a lot easier to launch a system when nobody knows about it yet than it is to launch a system with a whole bunch of people ready to go. It's awesome, but it's fun, but it's harder because there's all these unexpected things and getting their systems going, and then they start emailing, and it's harder than just starting from ground zero, which is interesting. So one of the things I'm going to end on today, and I hope you guys can stay with me to the end, is what we need to do to prioritize who we're going to build the system for and launch it for first, second, third. And as we go forward and you guys are building, those that are using the system for free, there's just no way that I can continue to have them be equal priority to those who are going to help pay to support the system. I've been funding the system entirely for the last couple of months as we're putting all this together, and as CWE is changing things and I have to change things. It's about $5,000 a month between the three, in fact, a little bit more, between the three VAs. And I didn't want to let them go. So even on days, because they're all trained up and they know what we're doing. So there were a couple of weeks there where I didn't have any work for them. I still had to pay them. I wasn't going to let them go because they're awesome, really hard workers, and they know what we're doing. So between that and the Kajabi system's like $900 a month, and then there's a couple other things that make all this possible. We're over $5,000 a month, and when you don't have revenue coming in, it starts to add up. And then I just started to think, okay, I got to accomplish my goals. I got to be smart. I can't keep doing this. We need to at least pay for the system. And I'd also like to eventually make enough to invest into creating a better version of this, for all of you guys and myself, so that we can really rock this thing out. Like, I think this is the beginning of something really, really big, and I want to keep developing it. So we need to make sure it's sustainable. So it's not like those of you that have to, because I know some of you are just broke. I get it, been there, and I want to do everything we possibly can for you, and we will. And I'm going to go over that. But I want people to understand that have to use the free aspect of this. You have to understand that we're not going to make it if I don't charge and be a little smarter about how economics works. So I'm going to go over that at the end and talk about the different options for how to participate and help financially support the system, but how we're also going to allow people to use it for free and even be able to try to support new people coming in who use it for free. I'm going to share how we can all leverage that to get more leads, which is the key. I'm going to talk a lot more about that, which is really one of the secret strategies that I always used. I've used it in different ways, but how to tap into kind of magical leverage and strategy to get so many leads, quality leads, that you're just instantly in a leadership position where you get to sort instead of sell. So I'm going to talk more about that too. And you're just instantly in a great place. And I think a lot of people never get there. And I think that's the problem. So we're going to talk about how the free, that I really respect and want to continue to preserve the free model aspect of this, which is controversial among marketers. A lot of marketers aren't going to want to mess with people that are using their systems for free because they think that you're attracting a lot of people that aren't doers, or they don't have a success mindset, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really go for that. I understand there's extra challenges because you got always people coming at you and they're not paying for what you're putting out. But I've always been extraordinarily successful by really over delivering on the free side. And it's, for obvious reasons, if you can pull it off, but there are limitations. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you how we're addressing that by having a paid for model so we can sustain this darn thing and build it up and improve it. Everyone's going to benefit. Okay. Some of these slides, I didn't have time to develop these slides. A lot of these were just taken from the presentations that are in the funnel itself. Or just modified slightly, so I can go through this. So some of you have gone through certain aspects of the funnel already, because I know some of you have gotten your lead capture pages, or some of them, and some of the pages that have been up in the emails. You haven't seen them all yet, but you've seen a lot of it, or parts of it. You've seen some of this, but I have to kind of go over it again, but it's in a different context. So some of it may be review for you that have been looking over your funnels, but it's important that I do that. Okay, so you see this little Robert Kiyosaki image over here. I'm going to talk a lot about that. And I know it's redundant for a lot of people that have been in and around the industry a long time, but it's just so dang important. And what I'm trying to do when I'm emphasizing these things, not just in the system, but with you guys, is change the conversation. When I go into the CW groups and stuff, the conversation's off. Like, I get we're excited about the bot. I get that we're excited about crypto. Like, no one's more excited about crypto than me. But that's not where the big transformation's at. You need leverage. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that. And so I'm going to keep returning to that and showing how we have to tap into that conversation with our prospects so that you're attracting the right people. Anyway, here's what we're going to talk about today. Using the B to accelerate the I. That means using a business system, which I'll talk about in a minute, to accelerate moving into the investor quadrant. I'll talk about that for those that don't know what that is. First tier versus second tier crypto commission programs. I mean, you're going to notice, like, this is all about CWE, and yet I'm not talking about CWE. For those that don't know, CWE is often used to quickly say Crypto World Evolution, or CWE. So when you hear me say CWE, that's what I mean, Crypto World Evolution, the Autobot. I'm not talking about that on the front end, not even with you guys. I'm going to talk about why in a little bit. It's so important. I'll go over the marketing funnel flowchart, how we're generating leads, and how I'm helping you generate those leads in a big way, free versus paid. I'm going to be really emphasizing you guys just go for free leads at first, Put that extra money into crypto. Empowering those who are broke but motivated for massive leads, for you to get massive leads. I kind of referenced that a little bit earlier. I talk about that. Team building, focus on higher leverage, is kind of the theme throughout this whole thing. And then the perks for those of you who are going to help support this system by helping, there's going to be 2 different levels actually for helping pay for it versus free participation, which is still going to be very much embraced. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be very much embraced, and we'll talk about why. It has to do with that massive lead generation. Okay, so before we begin, and again, I know those of you who have reviewed the system have seen me go over this so many times, but it is so important. And it's so important for you to learn how to weave this into your conversation, not just with prospects you might talk to or email, but just in your own mind. Because if you wrap your head around it, and if you can own this, that's going to come through in just everything you do in so many indescribable subconscious ways that is going to attract a different type of person, and it's going to shift the dynamic of the conversation. It's going to change the types of questions prospects ask you. I assure you that if the same prospect's talking to many of you, and then separately they're talking to me, it's a very different conversation, but it's the same person. And it's because of the mindset that I have, that when they say something or they ask something, I don't let them stay in a limited paradigm. And again, the only reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm in an empowering paradigm. And I know a lot of you are there. Some of you might say you're halfway there, and some of you might not know what in the heck I'm talking about. But I want to continue to reinforce, and I'd like to ask that you guys reinforce this in the community, because I'm just not seeing it very much, and it's keeping everyone in a limited place financially, for sure. I'll talk a little bit about that, but let's talk about the basics here. Robert Kiyosaki, for those who don't know, he was a financial educator. He's still around, but he was really big in the 90s, and he was big in teaching real estate. But he also actually circulated the network marketing industry for good reason, because if you're in the right company, it is a good business system. But he talked about here on the left side of the quadrant, you have the E and the S, employee, self-employed. You're trading time for money. With the E, the employee, you have a job. S, you own a job. But he was saying in both cases, you're trading time for money. And we are conditioned to think that way. And most of the prospects who come your way will be conditioned to think that way. And it's really our responsibility to help them stop thinking that way, because you really can't be successful unless you get super lucky. And some people have. Some people got lucky investing into crypto 4 years ago that don't really know what they're doing, have millions and millions of dollars, but most of them are going to lose that, by the way. I mean, that's just statistically what happens if you don't know these concepts. But in most cases, if you're not in a real lucky situation, which is extremely rare, if you want to have control over your destiny, if you want to have your hands on the steering wheel, you have to move away from the mindset of trading time for money, and you got to help your prospects do that, and move into the right side of the quadrant, which was where you have leverage. And this is what he called the B quadrant and the I quadrant. The B quadrant is a business owner, which he separated from a self-employed person. Self-employed person trades time for money. This could be somebody who works at the restaurant 12 hours a day, maybe owns a mechanic shop, and has to be there. Doesn't have a system in place, but has to be there trading time for money. Of course, somebody could own a mechanic shop and have employees there and have a system and have a bookkeeper and have the pricing and the marketing and everything in place in such a way, if that was their goal, and have a business system where they can walk away for a month or 2 months at a time. Tony, a lot of you have heard Tony, who's in CWE, our upline. He's an incredible business system owner. He owns several businesses. He's had several restaurants. He has several businesses right now running that he doesn't have to be there for them to bring in revenue. And he's an exceptional upline, by the way. I'm definitely going to be tapping into him, and for those of you who don't know who he is, introducing you to him, and as we go forward. He's brilliant. Business system owners have a business system that's working for them, or a system of some kind that's working for them. And this is really what I'm handing to you guys, and what you're getting to then in turn hand to your prospects. And it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. But it's only a big deal if people understand it. And so it really needs to be the main part of the conversation. If somebody's not in that context, you need to know it. You need to let them know they're risking a lot, and you need to decide how much time you want to spend with a prospect like that. I know some of you are, just looking, well, if I could just sell the bot and I get some commissions, who knows, maybe they'll refer some people. But I really want to get you guys thinking a little bit differently about all that. Maybe at first you still work with people that don't get this stuff, don't want to get this stuff, just want to buy and use the bot. But I really hope to shift that in many of you so you can really manifest some major changes financially, not just here, but everywhere. Because who you collaborate with, who you work with, where you spend your time reinforces your mindset, impacts what happens next in such a major way. Business system. You want a business system that's working for you. Now, what we're doing here is we're using the business system to generate cryptocurrency commissions. This is the conversation. We're using a business system that will continually evolve and develop. So now we got a sustainable project going here. For those of you that were working with me 6 months ago, wasn't sustainable. It was a shot in the dark, go for it situation. And it was, flying by the seat of our pants. There was no time to put together a full-on business system that we could develop over time. Now we've got a different approach, a sustainable approach, a business system that generates leads, that educates, that provides value, that plugs people into resources and tools and products like the Autobot, but also like Trezor Wallet, where you store your Bitcoin in a cold storage safe place that pays crypto commissions. Binance pays crypto commissions. We have a business system that we continually evolve and adapt and improve upon that creates cryptocurrency commissions. And Crypto World Evolution just happens to be, the featured product to do it with, to lead with. But it's a different conversation. And it's so important. If you really want to master success in this or anything, you've got to be able to shift into that mindset. We're using this business system to generate cryptocurrency commissions so we can get into the I faster. We can accelerate the I. And what that really means is, the I is the investor quadrant, because once you're there, once you really get enough passive revenue coming back to you from the investor quadrant, that's total freedom. That's total absolute freedom. And the cryptocurrency market offers us an opportunity to do that like never before. So what we're looking at right now are just some of my favorite coins and tokens. A token is built on top of another blockchain system. Like there's a lot of tokens that are built on top of Ethereum, for example. There's tokens built on top of Neo. Coins are their own blockchain. These are not all my favorite. There's 15 here that are, and there's 8 that aren't. The 8 that aren't are ones that friends recommended that I'm taking a look at, are ones that shot up really fast yesterday, and so I just added them to my favorites and I'm just watching. But 15 of these are my favorites. And again, I'm not giving you advice or anything, just happens to be. I just wanted to show you the concept of moving from using the business system to move into the I, so you can start to have this kind of different way of looking at what we're doing. That's going to give you a lot more leverage and shift the kind of conversation you're having. And you don't have to really do anything different, but once you really grasp what I'm going to go over today fully, again, the dynamic of this whole process changes, and it just attracts more success and higher quality prospects and a different conversation and different results instantly. So what we're getting at here is, when I look at these, I know when a lot of people look at their favorite coins, they're watching them, they're feeling bummed out when they go down, they're excited when they go up, and it's kind of a stressful thing to some degree, even for some of the more emotionally evolved among us, because you've got all the money you really can put in there. And so if it goes down, it's like, that's all you got. So if you buy Bitcoin, for example, at 9 grand, and then it drops down to 5 in a week, it just feels yucky, because you don't have another 4 million over there to buy more when it buy a bunch more when it drops down to 5 grand and go, oh, awesome. You can cost average it down. I got a great price. That's not how you feel about it, because you don't have any more resources to put it in, or not enough to do the cost average. Or like you'll see your favorite coin just plummet. Maybe you don't own very much of something, you heard about something, you want it, you don't have enough funds to buy it, and it drops really fast. And you're like, man, what's going on? And you find out, oh, it's just FUD. It's just a BS fear, and you wish you could get more, but you don't have enough resources to. And then you see it spring back up, and you're like, man, I knew it. And then it goes like 4x or 10x. Some of you have probably seen this. I have. There was one that I wanted to buy. I knew it was going to go up. All my resources were tied up. And I just watched it like multiply by 10 right before my eyes over the course of about 11 days. What we're talking about with our business system is generating cryptocurrency commissions. That, by the way, that happened recently. What I just described literally happened. Put all this time into researching and like, okay, this one's a winner. I love this one. Like I could go long on this one. And then I just start seeing it climb. I couldn't buy any yet because we hadn't launched our system. Putting all my money into, the VAs and everything. I don't have any more to work with right now to buy some of these things. But we launched this system. Now I got cryptocurrency commissions coming in. You got cryptocurrency commissions coming in. I just start feeding these positions. Now the dynamic in your relationship with this whole process changes. You're building your portfolios in a systematic way. They go, you got a winner. You think you got a winner like I did. It was Ontology, by the way. It hit Binance just like a month ago or so. Just sat there. And I bought a little. But I didn't have enough resources because we hadn't launched our system yet. And you guys kind of know how much I put into our last business system. So I needed to launch the system to be able to get the cryptocurrency commissions going. If I would have had this out and had commissions coming in every day, boom, I would have just been stuffing it in there. And I would have made that particular one, I think, went 6x from where I was going to buy it. You put 10 grand in there, that's 60 grand. And that happened in 10 days. These things are popping like that often. But if you don't have the resources to capitalize, this can be kind of frustrating. What we're doing and the relationship you want to develop with this is we're using a business system to generate cryptocurrency commissions to feed these different coins and tokens that we want to pick up. And that way, if Bitcoin drops, bam, you got more cryptocurrency commissions just to buy some with. Or you're actually, a lot of these things are, like Seaweed pays you in Bitcoin, it pays you in PV, but you take it out in Bitcoin. So bam, you got instant Bitcoin. That's how you want to relate to this process. That's what you want to use this business system to do. And this is what you want to communicate to your prospects. It's a completely different way of relating to it. Then when the market's going crazy, going up and down, you love it because you got funds to work with that aren't coming from your 401k, or you don't have to hawk something to take advantage of something. Or your funds aren't all tied up and you're all in and you're stuck. And the market goes down and you're just bummed out because you're stuck. Your bot's all frozen up. You got cryptocurrency commissions coming in. Your bot doesn't get frozen up. You just put some more in the bot. By the way, with this different kind of approach to it and mindset, if the bot does hit a bear market like we saw in the last couple months, now it's moving into a bear, which is beautiful for the bot, HPSI. But during a bear market, the HPSI, I saw one of mine go like 50% in the red. It bounced out after about 2 months, but it looked, pretty bad there for a while. And I bet some of you had some like that during the bear market. Well, my bot got frozen up because I had everything in there, and you can only trade with, mine was set at 20,000, and they were all stuck in there. And I didn't have any more resources to feed in there. But if you have the system turned on, you got cryptocurrency commissions coming in, you just put more in the bot. Or you can, move some of those positions that are deep in the red out of your bot, put them in a Trezor wallet or a Ledger wallet, the ones that are in deep red, because you should only be putting coins in there that you want to keep long-term anyway, if that were to happen. And then if you got more cryptocurrency commissions coming in, you just put in your bot and off it goes again. And then when the market corrects, those go up. It wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal at all. The entire experience changes. What I'm encouraging you guys to do is shift your focus away from just like trading And just looking at this like your average Joe or Jane would, and think of it as Robert Kiyosaki would. Leverage a system and create a process. So it doesn't matter if it's going up or down. You got the long-term view on where this is all going. Again, I'm not convincing you where it's going or that it's going big. I'm assuming if you're here, you're of like mind in that regard already. So I'm assuming that you already see this is going big by you being here. And so you shouldn't sweat it as long as you have more cryptocurrency commissions coming in to keep building your portfolio. It's a completely different mindset. And it's really what this system is all about. And I'd really like it to become more of the conversation, because if it does, and it becomes the culture of our group, we're going to attract a much higher caliber prospect, meaning somebody who can come in and make things happen. Because people who make things happen, they think bigger, they think in terms of systems, processes, they don't get emotional about the ups and downs that happen day to day. This is across every industry. This is across every field, even in sports and athletics, politics, you name it. If we can bring that mindset to it, you're going to be able to fully tap into the power of this system and just do things that you may not presently, be aware that are even possible. Because it's a whole different way of leveraging what's going on. It's a whole different way of looking at it, interacting, engaging, and it changes what you do. It changes what you do with your time, with the limited time you might have. It changes your focus. It changes the questions you ask. It changes the type of prospects you're looking for. It changes the way you answer questions that a prospect might email you. Or if someone emails you a bad question, instead of you answering it, you realize, you say, it sounds like you didn't watch the video. Sounds like that's your next step. And then come back to me with questions. You have more confidence because you understand the dynamic of the whole thing, and you're not caught up in the emotional roller coaster, feeling like desperate or for money or whatever. Or feeling upset today because they went in the red. Like, you'll see it as a buying opportunity if you approach this right. Okay, first tier versus second tier crypto commission programs. So again, I mentioned CWE down here. What is it? First, second, third, fourth, fifth line. This isn't actually a slide from our presentation, but it's reflective of the emphasis of our message, because there's a time and a place to talk about Crypto World Evolution. First of all, understand that Crypto World Evolution, the company, doesn't want us to market Crypto World Evolution on the front end. Because if we do, even though, I've talked to Tony and he's, who works with corporate directly, and and I said, look, I know what the legality issues are, and after everything that I've been through with crypto in the last 6 months, I'm really well aware of the regulatory policies and so forth, and I think I can very successfully communicate, what we need to about Crypto World Evolution without violating any concerns with regulators and so forth. It's all very clear to me, and he understood that, and he agreed. And he said, yeah, go for it. But there is still a concern there that other people will see me doing that and they'll emulate it. So the company really doesn't want us to market Crypto World Evolution on the front end heavily, because and screenshots of our stuff, our bots, because people will, even if you know how to do it and you know how to frame it so it's done properly and it's not setting false expectations and making guaranteed claims and so forth, other people in Crypto World Evolution that aren't tied into a strong upline, they're going to see that and start emulating it. And if they emulate it, they're not going to emulate it properly. They're just going to start showing all their successful trades and making it sound like everyone's going to get the same. And they're going to want to do their own webinars and stuff. And they're not going to. So they really don't want us marketing CWE in the front end. And by the way, it's not very successful marketing to do so anyway, because there aren't very many people out there that know that Crypto World Evolution solves a problem for them. They don't know that yet. But there's a lot of people out there that want crypto commissions because that's solving a problem. They want more crypto. There's a lot of people who want that. And they want to do it without schemes. A lot of them have been burned. So our audience, our hungry audience, are people, and there's over 1 million of them, guys, well over 1 million. It's probably several million globally, who are good prospects who have been burned by schemes or just crypto-related opportunities that may have had leadership with good intentions, a lot of them with bad intentions, some of them with good intentions, but because of the risky nature of the environment and the risk of the regulatory changes, they didn't make it. That's our market. That's our lowest hanging fruit. It's not our only market, but it's such a huge, hungry audience. It's definitely who we should be tapping into. We solve a problem for them. We solve a major problem for them. They want cryptocurrency commissions. They want it through a sustainable model, not something that's going to fall out from underneath them. They don't want an organization to be able to run off with their Bitcoin. We have a great solution for them. We have a great organization. But if we start out pitching crypto, it's what it will sound like to them if we're talking about crypto world evolution on the front end. We're not directly responding to what it is they need to hear to feel that their problems are being addressed and their needs are being addressed. It sounds like a pitch. So what we're doing is we're focusing on the benefit of everything that we have packaged here within the system, of which Crypto World Evolution is a part of. So we talk about it in these terms. There's a first tier and a second tier crypto commission program. There's actually one first tier program, that's Crypto World Evolution. And there's many second tier crypto commission programs. And the reason why we separate them that way, first tier is CWE, that has a much stronger, as it says down here, fast start lucrative compensation plan. It's fast start. I mean, you can do extraordinarily well right out of the gate. It was built for it. The second tier programs are more for, as you look at the last line, long-term accumulation of crypto commissions. They're just your simple, basic affiliate programs, but together and over a period of time, since they're just working within the same system anyway, they add up. And over the course of time, and you're putting those crypto commissions into certain positions, Bitcoin, other altcoins, it can be significant. So why not put them in there, and we can add to them also as we discover new products and services that offer affiliate commissions. And there's a whole economy online. You know, it's really built the internet. Amazon and their affiliate program, it's really built the internet, the affiliate marketing model, and the cryptocurrency market's doing it anyway. And many of them pay in cryptocurrency commissions. So we'll add those in too, but we call them second tier because it's more of a longer term, slower process of accumulating crypto commissions. Whereas the first tier program, which is CWE, really has a strong, fast start compensation plan that we'll be teaching people about. But at first, we're really referencing this as a first tier and a second tier crypto commission program that are woven into the system. Different language, different mindset. And it's important, or it would sound like a pitch. We don't want it to sound like a sales pitch. We're not doing it not to sound like a sales pitch. It just doesn't make sense to do. Like, it makes sense to help people understand right away out of the gate that, hey, this system can help you generate cryptocurrency commissions, and we have a first tier program, and we have second tier programs, and they discuss the differences like I just did. That's what they want to know first. Again, when you talk and think like this, you're going to attract higher caliber people. The emphasis is on the system. The emphasis is on leverage. The emphasis is on people who understand the power of networks. I don't mean just networking, although that's a nice skill. It's not a skill I particularly have, by the way. You don't need to have a networking skill. Some people do. It's great if you do. Some of you do, by the way. But what we're talking about is the ability, you don't have to be like a network marketer in the traditional sense to be able to build networks. I do it through marketing, and I do it through leadership, leading the way and working my tail off to figure things out, solve problems. But I'm building a network. And then networkers like Tony's a phenomenal network marketer just by natural skill. However you do it, the goal is to build networks. And we want people who understand that. We want to attract people who understand that because they either already have networks in place or are ready to go build one without us having to convince them they want to. That's going to attract a much more successful collaboration if that's our emphasis. That's going to attract abundant, unlimited resource mindsets versus limited view mindsets. And you guys have seen the limited view mindsets in our communities and in every community. They complain, they blame, there's no personal accountability, responsibility. You cannot succeed with those people. If you have too many of them around you, you will fail no matter what else is going on. And so one thing I ask you guys to do is when you see the limited view mindset in the community, like, stand up against it. I know sometimes we're afraid because they're typically the bully types, but we shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid. And you might think, well, I don't want to, don't push against something, like just move away from it. Like, I get that, But there's also a certain level of holding people to a higher standard in our community because we're inviting people in there. So see if you can find ways to do it without conflict and be respectful. But if there's more of us doing it, letting people know, hey, maybe there's a different way you could frame that question. Maybe there's a different way that you could, a more positive, constructive way that you could approach solving that problem that you're speaking to. You know, Gary, I totally understand where you're coming from. I just want to point out that the way you've written your post is focused more on the problem than it is on the solution. So I'm not sure you're going to be able to find a solution unless you reframe that. You know, find your own way, and it doesn't need to be conflict. And often, again, people that do have a limited view mindset often are kind of bullies. And I think that sometimes scares people from being able to hold them accountable to a higher standard. But I just ask you guys to give it your all, give it your best. It matters. It will impact the success that you have in terms of the level of success you have and the success that your teams have. The more of us that hold people to that higher standard respectfully, again, another way to get a fast and easy way to get massive leverage and growth. We're going to attract, by focusing on this conversation, we're going to naturally attract stronger collaborators, and that equals faster manifestation. It's exponential. The difference is exponential. It's huge. What I'm talking about is like shortcuts that are legit, like taking a piece of paper, a really long piece of paper, and imagine having to, you're drawing a long line across that piece of paper. That's your path. We're talking about folding it, and it's like a millimeter distance. It's huge. It's like a wormhole in space. If you ever wonder, honestly, if you ever wonder how some people with the same system, same opportunity, who don't often even, sometimes they don't even look like they have any particularly special skills as communicators or what have you, that do extraordinarily well. It's just this mindset stuff. This is the difference. First tier program is CWE, of course. We chose it because it has a strong product. It has strong leadership. I know a lot of you haven't been able to see that yet. I'm going to introduce you to Tony. Some of you have heard him on the webinars. He works with corporate on a regular basis. Oh man, I can't believe he's got so much energy. He's a go-giver to the extreme. And I'm going to be bringing him on some webinars, and you'll be meeting him more and seeing just how incredible of a leader he is. And the company, the corporate, the people here, they really are extraordinary. There's no question about it. For a while, I was second guessing myself because of some recent, some of you are well aware, a recent group of people that I had put some faith in. But quite frankly, for those of you who know what I'm referring to, I think they had good intentions. That's just my personal belief. But this group here is a whole nother level of leadership. Like, they're really listening. They're really engaged. They're coming out with new innovations all the time. And it's still early. Like, they haven't got the full corporate model, like you see them coming out with new stuff. It's because they're still getting it all in place. That makes this an even bigger opportunity. And then I mentioned the Fast Start Lucrative Compensation Plan. That's why we call it the first tier program. It's got to be like, you got to be able to do really well with it quickly, and that, to be the first tier program. And we're not going to add any other first tier programs to this in the foreseeable future. Just no reason to. And by the way, the compensation plan incentivizes team building, and that's something we want to emphasize to our prospects. I'm going to go over that in a different call, but I will touch upon it a little bit more today. It's quite extraordinary how you can help in a big way. The compensation plan is designed to help people get up and going and generating pretty significant crypto commissions faster through team effort. And we'll have more calls just on that topic. But that's why CWE is our first tier program, the one we're emphasizing, the one we're leading with. The second tier programs, again, are for long-term accumulation. That's like the affiliate program associated with Binance, with Trezor, with Ledger, tools, services that pay cryptocurrency commissions, kind of like Amazon does, and other common companies out there, but in cryptocurrency, that we can weave into the system. So we're providing more value with our system. We're educating people about these things, and they're learning about it. And then there's your link, and they buy Trezor, and you get an affiliate commission. Why not? There's more to put into your portfolio. So I'm not going to have a webinar today, going through all this stuff. And a lot of you are very familiar with this. I know we have some people that aren't listening in. We're going to have other calls. And when I release the system fully any day here, you'll be able to learn all about this. For those that don't know about CWE, basically Autobot trading software. There's 3 different packages. Each software robot package is designed for a different goal and for a different trading personality. And again, we'll have more presentations just on that. That's not the point of today. The point of today is really just to kind of get you guys in the right mindset about how to approach using the system. And then those of you who've been working closely with me, give you an opportunity to work even more closely with me and to help support the system, because of course we've been providing this for free for a very long time. But what that's done is it's bottlenecked. We've got over 400 people that we built part of the system for, and it's just taking too long. We have to be able to prioritize. That's what I really want to make today's call about, is getting it going faster. And as we evolve and develop, having a group of people that are helping support it be, the priority first, so that they can be helping spearhead this thing. And I'll talk more about that and the perks of being a part of that. But also, for those of you who are just broke and can't, nothing wrong with that, just want to be a part of it, want to benefit from it, but just absolutely can't contribute financially at all to this, there's still a huge opportunity for you as well. Here's some collage of some of the second tier programs that I mentioned, Coinbase, Ledger, Trezor, TradingView, Binance. People can sign up for these as affiliates for free. Why not plug that into the system too? And as the system's educating people about those things, you're just generating more cryptocurrency commissions. Let me talk about the flow of the marketing funnel a little bit here. For those that are familiar with marketing funnels, this looks, pretty typical. Those who aren't, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I want you guys to understand how this particular funnel is built, because it is pretty unique. And it is also why it's gotten more complicated for us to build so many funnels for so many people. Like I said, we got started with 407 people. We built a lot of the sections of this for 407 people already, but there's so much more, and it's taken too long. So we need to prioritize who we build these for first, second, third, etc. So let's talk about this a little bit though. So the marketing, that's, how do you get the leads in there? And that's the biggest problem most people have. Like, a lot of people have marketing funnels, but they don't know how to get the leads in there. And I'm really helping a lot of you guys solve that problem, because I'm going to be creating the content that you'll post on YouTube. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, to generate the leads. And then I'm going to talk more about how you can leverage those that want to use the free part of the system to get even more leads. So you can totally tap into, I just call it like magic marketing. I'll show you that. Because the whole goal is to get a lot of leads. You got to get a lot of leads. I notice a lot of people never get there. And if you don't get there, not a lot's going to happen. But you don't have to get all the leads yourself. Your team does. Hold on, I'm going to get a drink of tea here. So they come in through the marketing. I'm going to be helping you with the marketing. I'll talk more about that in a second. And you see this little arrow go to the LCP. That's the lead capture page. Lead capture page, they enter their name and email. And then the automation begins. I'm going to show you some of these pages and walk you through this. And then after they sign up, then there's the support. And the amazing thing about having a really good system with really good support is you're not on your own. Like, you don't have to create this. You just plug into it. It frees up your time so that 99% of your time is focused on things that just produce results, instead of having to put all this together, think about it, figure out what's not working, and then support people in the back end. It's a night and day experience to have a system like this compared to not. And I know 90% of you here, I'm preaching to the choir, but I just want to hit these obvious points to reiterate what you should be emphasizing when you're in conversations with prospects. Not that you're going to need to be in a lot of one-on-one conversations per se. The system kind of removes the necessity of that, but there are going to be times for engagement and interaction. Of course, some of these people you can bring to me or another team leader or to our webinars. You're not going to be responsible for describing all this, but I want you to understand it. I want you to take responsibility for the mindset, so that if a prospect does email you a question or what have you, you don't get engaged in the wrong kind of conversation. And again, there's not a right or wrong in terms of what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. It's just about once you understand like the point and the purpose of the system and what really makes leverage happen and some of the mechanisms in place that I'm going to be going over and everything that I'm doing to make this work, uh, you're just in a different mindset, and so the conversations automatically change. And the types of people you spend your time with versus don't spend your time with changes. Here's a snapshot of one of the YouTube videos I did. You'll see it has 5,000 views. I had almost no followers on my YouTube channel like just a couple months ago. I never really used YouTube much, but I taught people how to use it back in 2007 when it was kind of just getting started. You know, a lot of big YouTube marketers learned from me early on because SEO, search engine optimization, and the concept of targeting your audience and how to attract your audience, it's the same no matter what medium you're using. And that's why I was able to come in really quick and just start doing videos. And, you know, I got it from like really 0 views to, I think it's almost 5,000 views now. And I haven't even really tried. I mean, I haven't really tried at all. I'm about to, and you guys are going to benefit from that by being able to use the same content on your channels. You know, I'm not, I don't hesitate. I don't hesitate to admit that I'm not good at everything, no question about it. But I think it's important for us to acknowledge what we're strong at. I'm really good at like just simple marketing, just authentic, genuine attraction marketing. Like just effortless. Because again, it all comes down, and you're going to benefit from that. And I share this with you because I want you guys to understand what it is you should be emphasizing and what it is the conversation really should be about. It's a big deal that someone doesn't have to create the content themselves, or they can just kind of add to it and build around it. You know, 80 likes on this. Oh, and you might say, well, okay, but it was who you were marketing to. Like, this is a unique situation. Not really, guys. Not really. Here's what's really funny. These videos had already been up for a couple months, and people had posted them already. But I put this one up, and I got almost 50,000 views. I put this one up and got 22,000 views. And it wasn't even unique content. It's because of the titles and the tags. And also the moment, what was going on at the time I posted it. This one said, Bitcoin doubters in the house, show them this. Like, I knew at that particular time when I posted it that because Bitcoin was going down, and at that particular time there was like this doubt, I knew that that would catch. 671 likes. I didn't even deserve it. Like, I didn't even make the video. Now, if I wanted to put a little couple minutes at the front of it or a couple minutes at the end of it, I could easily just drive them wherever I want to. And it would still, you know, if I intended to use it that way, I would be getting leads all the time. Every week I'd be getting more and more leads still to this day. Same thing with this one, 22,000 likes, and it's more all the time. 211 likes, 22,000 views. I know John McAfee, for those of you that know, he's a little oddball, but nonetheless, he's in the media, and you know, his claim that Bitcoin will go to 1 million gets a lot of fanfare. And you know, I just made this post, John McAfee. So you know, whatever words you put at the front of your title, you know, that's really important. You see Bitcoin, I was going after Bitcoin here, and I was going after John McAfee here. So people are watching videos on John McAfee on Bitcoin, then mine's going to show up on the side. You know, John McAfee, 40,000 Bitcoin is still affordable and unstoppable. Again, this was also posted around the same time. I call this strategy, I used to teach the strategy in 2007, leveraging the news. That, you know, I didn't have to hardly do anything, but because of the title and the moment in time, the way that I framed the title, I knew that people were doubting, they were worried, they still wanted hope about Bitcoin. Is when it started going down. It did turn around again, by the way. But at that time, people were really worried. And so I knew that those titles would work, even though this wasn't even fresh content. And you can, you know, I'm going to be able to, sometimes I'm going to use that kind of content. The last slide, I was talking to a particular group that follow a particular company. That's another strategy. This is another strategy where I would just grab some content that's out there because of titles, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Uh, People pay $10,000 for training like this. Seriously. You're just going to get to tap into it and have it handed to you for a particular result. James Altucher, same thing. Notice how I put his name first, Bitcoin second. This is all by design. Like, these titles aren't by mistake. 17,000 views. And this wasn't even new either. It's the same kind of strategy. I can do this in my sleep. This is what I always did. I didn't always do it on YouTube. I did it elsewhere with articles and blog posts and so forth. But it works on YouTube's actually easier. It's really easy, actually. For some reason, a lot of people just don't know how to do it. It's real simple stuff. I'll be showing it to you, and I'll be giving it to you and the content with the link to the lead capture page to generate the leads, putting them through the funnel to generate cryptocurrency commissions with support all along the way. That's the conversation. That's the value. Seewe is a piece of that. And by the way, that's what Crypto World Evolution Company wants. They don't want us to have a video about Crypto World Evolution. They've asked us not to. So you got to be clever. You got to speak to an audience who doesn't know about cryptocurrency evolution, who, if you started talking about Crypto World Evolution too fast, they just think you're pitching they're out. You got to talk to an audience from where they're at and lead them in. I'm going to be giving you content to do that. And it's going to be huge. It's just, if you do it, it's going to be big. I mean, you're going to get leads. I'm going to show you kind of some of them, how the math works out in a little bit. Here's a different strategy. This is more targeted, so you see a smaller number of views. This is more like getting only to like a more niche group, but it can be also just as successful in terms of lead generation because even though it's a lot less views, it's 1,500 views, 41 likes, because you're talking to a more specific audience. So even though it's less views, you're getting more people that are more apt to click the link and come on through. So it's not all about huge numbers of views. Sometimes you want those, sometimes you want to target. Again, cryptocurrency bigger than Bitcoin gets, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin commission system, what's coming next. There I was just talking to my own audience, but I'm getting leads at the same time. You guys are going to be able to leverage all these different strategies. I'm going to give you the content, and I'm going to be teaching you what I'm doing. So those of you who want to try pieces of this, or take the skill with you for the rest of your life, you're going to be learning it as well. Or if you just want to just use what I give you and get everything out you can of this, and build your Bitcoin and altcoin portfolios and not apply any of this, you can do that too. Here's another strategy, like a how-to. It's an instructional video. Again, it's also going to be a smaller number of views, but very effective because it's a real targeted audience, obviously. So there's all these different strategies. The first strategy that I'm going to be employing with you guys is to generate free leads, because the last system we did Facebook ads, and a lot of people are concerned like, well, you can't do Facebook ads anymore for crypto. That's not true. You just can't use those keywords in your ads. And honestly, I love those kinds of obstacles because most people just can't overcome them. And it's just so easy. It's got to be a little creative. In fact, it was my Facebook ad rep who works for Facebook who was the first one to tell me, oh, you can still advertise your Bitcoin stuff. Just don't use Bitcoin and crypto in the ad. And she was giving me all these ideas. I mean, that's coming from Facebook themselves. So we absolutely can advertise. We just have to be a little more clever about it, more creative. But what I'm telling you is I tested the heck out of videos and lead generation, and the results were absolutely incredible. And I have a very clear vision, a very clear plan on how to generate an insane amount of leads and how to help you guys generate an insane amount of leads. If you just have the will and wherewithal to follow the system long enough. Like, you can't just put up a couple videos and expect like your life to change. Like, you got to give it like a month or two. You don't need a month or two to start getting some leads, but I mean to get some serious traction. And you need to post all the videos I put up, and but you can get free leads that can change your life. I think the biggest problem is people just don't believe that or something. And for those of you who've known me from as far back as 2001, like, that it will work. For those of you who are new, it might be a little harder for you to get there and have the faith that what I'm going to give you is going to work. But that's why I showed you those videos, like all those views. And if you sit and you listen to all this, you plug into the system, you should be able to arrive at the conclusion that, yeah, probably going to work. Generating leads is not that hard for this guy. It's not the problem. The problem is most people just don't have the will to follow through on simple steps that lead to success, even when it's handed to them. So I'm only talking to a small group of you right now, but I just wanted to address you. I know a lot of you have known me for a long time and know that we're going to generate leads. I just want to say, like, now's the time to get serious. Remember when I started this call, I was saying you got to get emotional. You got to tap into what it is that really drives you. It can't just feel like a process of posting videos to YouTube. It's got to like feel like what it really is, which is leading you to everything that you want, everything you want to contribute, everything you want to offer your family, everything you want to retire with and do in retirement. Like it needs to be an emotional process or you're not going to do it. That's how I do it. You got to connect to that or it's not going to happen. You might logically know it'll work, but you're not going to actually do it if you don't keep reminding yourself why you're doing it. I'll give you the content. We will generate the leads. I'm going to show you some math in a bit of how that, to try to really help you see how it works, because it's magnificent. And then we might move to ads. But honestly, I'd rather you spend that money on more cryptocurrency or whatever. Like if there's a big demand for ads, and by the way, I do want to like start a co-op and play around with it, but I don't want it to be like the main driver until it has to be, because there's such a unique opportunity here. There's such a hungry audience, and so few people that seem to know how to connect to them, that it's just, for whatever reason, just really easy for me to tap into YouTube and to give you that content and to really do extraordinarily well. So I'd really like to focus on that first. And then if something changes in the market or whatever, we can pivot to advertising. A lot of I mean, that's what I did mostly for the last 6 years, was advertising, spent millions on Facebook. So that's also a simple process, but I'm just telling you the opportunity right now with YouTube is, I've never seen anything like it for this particular project. Like, it's incredible, which is another reason why I want to launch sooner rather than later. Okay, so I'm providing the marketing. You're using the same content I am. I will be encouraging you to add a little here or there, but I mean, you don't have to. I don't know how much more it will benefit you. We'll play around with that, but I'm giving you the content. You can just build around it, add to it, or just put it up as is and go from there. But I'm doing 99% of the work there and literally giving you the same content I'm using and directing you on how to change the title so it's a little bit unique. I'll be encouraging you to maybe try a little intro, 20-second intro. I'll even be giving you the scripts, although I'll encourage you to change what it says so you're not all saying the exact same thing, because I think YouTube knows what you say. Like, it has a system to like hear. It's crazy, right? But it has like a software robot that's literally listening to the videos. We want to create some unique content, but I had a lot of people test this, and I even had somebody copy my video exactly, and they ended up on Google on the front page, and mine didn't. So YouTube doesn't seem too particular about unique content, which is kind of surprising. So you can pretty much literally use it how it is, but I do want you to know I'll be encouraging you to try to dabble with maybe adding a little, like a 30-second intro at the beginning of some of them, just so your channel doesn't look like a spitting image of 500 other people's. But really, we're talking about, like, I'm taking 99% of the work of marketing out, and you're going to learn how to become a marketing expert by accident. I mean, just without all the crazy difficulty. It usually gets in the way of someone actually learning much, because it's usually so hard when you're starting out. You're just going to be like using this stuff and seeing what works, and it's kind of amazing when you think about it. So the marketing is going to drive people to lead capture page. And again, that sends people to the automated process that leads them to support. I wanted to pause right here and go somewhere else. I wanted to show you that another way. So let me see here. So here's the lead capture page, and we created 407 of these. Each one's unique. By the way, some of you might be asking, why are you doing that manually? Why are your VAs manually creating these? Like, that's really weird. It is extremely unusual. It's hard for me to describe, other than just to say, yes, we could use a fully automated system where you guys just sign up and voila, you have your own lead capture page. But the way that we're structuring this, it would really require us to get some developers, and we either tweak WordPress or build our own, which I've done before. I've built many systems that were completely self-sustained, but it takes a lot more time. And because of the nature of where we're at, I don't want to spend that time. I want to circle back around to that, which is again why we need to start charging some people for this that are willing to do that. Again, you can still use this for free. I want people to know that have been with us for a while. I really want to help you guys succeed, but we need to be reasonable, and in the economics need to work. And what I'm saying is, I want to get to the point where I can build a system that is a lot more automated and doesn't require my VAs to build them manually, which is just crazy. But right now we have like 407 of you, and I haven't even marketed yet. Like, I'm on the list. There's thousands of people that would easily be able to tap into this. We need to get it out. We need to get it going. We need to run with crypto right now. We need to run with Seaweed right now. We need to get it out. And then I will adapt, improve, and probably rebuild the system so that, yeah, we don't need VAs to manually build this. But right now, that's what we have to do so that we can run for it, so we can go for it. Speed of implementation is everything. So, I'm probably going to build more lead capture pages. But honestly, this works great, surprisingly. We will do more, though. We will create more lead capture pages that we'll test and so forth, and I'll talk more about that at the end of this. But this is the lead capture page that over 407 of you we built. When people enter their name and email, again, there's a video. It's kind of explaining all this. A lot of you have seen this. They enter their name and email, and then they land on this page. And in many ways, it's a simple process, and now they're getting the auto emails. But those auto emails have your name, which takes the VAs a long time to do, has your name and my name on it, because and what that does is it makes them feel close to the creator of the system. A lot of people don't like to get involved with a business model because they're seeing this presenter, and usually it's a real polished presenter who isn't real connected to the people's needs. They're just pitching something. You see this all the time, right? They're really good presenters. It's really polished, and these systems kind of do get off the ground. They do kind of work, but they don't really permeate beyond and break outside of the money-making industry because they're not really speaking to people's needs beyond just making money. There's got to be more than that going on. When we're partnered up, like at the bottom of your email, it says your name with Mike Klingler, and they're hearing me on the calls and so forth. I wouldn't mind being completely removed from all of this. It doesn't matter to me if that was effective, but there's no question that creates better results because now you're able to tell them that you have access to me. You can invite them to a webinar. If they're a leader or a strong marketer and they tell you that, you can literally connect them to me. Particularly those that are leaders, which you want to be able to attract, it's going to be very important to them that they're able to work with people that are movers and shakers. It's just the way it is for obvious reasons. And so by us collaborating in that way and the emails having your name and my name, you're able to really show them that you have access and that they have access to me, and that this isn't just some canned system, polished presentation that doesn't really move beyond that and help them succeed beyond the presentation, which is your typical system. And that really helps us in a major way. And my willingness to be available for every single one of you, and the fact that we have a system in place that allows me to do that, because that wouldn't ordinarily be possible, where if you have somebody who lets you know, and I'll be helping you know what questions to ask when your prospects reach out and so forth, and I'll show you how the system is set up so that they do reach out, and they reach out in a certain way, a very specific way, designed that way. And then I'll be telling you what to ask them. And they actually know already that you'll be asking them questions, and they understand why and how that's to their benefit. And if somebody answers back in a way where you feel like, this is a leader or a strong marketer and they're interested in connecting with me, I'm going to beeline to there. And because of the leverage built into the system, I'm able to do that. And that's a huge advantage for you, and it's a huge advantage for them and for their team as it grows. And if somebody's in Japan, somebody comes to the system in Japan and they've got a network there and they want us to bring the company over and help them open up Japan or do a big event, I'm going to make that happen. That's a big deal, and that's what leaders want to know. And so you're able to tap into that. I want that to be expressed, and by having my name on your emails, it expresses that. Now, if you were adamant and didn't want my name on there, I'd be fine with that. but I'm pretty certain, unless you were to take that role, which you could, I would love it. It's going to be harder for you to attract leadership. There's a lot built into this that goes beyond just the mechanisms of the system that are necessary to attract leadership, which is really necessary to attract big success. You guys are all getting to leverage with this. I want that to be really clear. So anyway, they're getting these auto emails, and the auto emails, a lot of you were able to, that got your lead capture pages already built, 407 of you. You're getting the auto emails, and you're able to click, and you're seeing that all those emails in those first email campaign are coming back to this page. Now, if you're paying for this system, one of the little perks, it's just a little one, but it is an important one, will be that your name will be at the bottom of this. Because one of the videos says, look on this page and see if you find the name of your guide in their email. And after you watch these 3 videos, reach out to them, and I give them really specific instructions. And I'll go over those a little bit in a moment. By the way, we're going to go over the system a lot more as we go forward after we launch this, but I did want to just give you guys a quick review of all this and the psychology and the mechanisms and everything in place that make this really, really effective. So your name would be down here, and they would be encouraged to reach out to you. And again, I'll be letting you know exactly what to do when that happens to keep it really hands-off and really simple. Like, for example, they're instructed where they can't ask you questions yet. They know that going into it. They cannot ask you questions at this point. And if they do, I'll let you know exactly what to do and what to say. We're training people to enter into this process so that they're following it with the right mindset to succeed. So important. That's really what makes something like this work. And that's the part that most people really miss. They're so caught up in making it look pretty. It's not what it's about. Although this doesn't look too bad, but my slides aren't hot. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not the point. Nobody really cares about that. The good ones don't. The doers don't. They care about what you're doing in terms of the problem you're solving and what you're providing, and the ultimate result that comes from that. And they want access. The leaders, which a system must attract and almost never does, they want access, and that's what we're giving them. Access to me, access to corporate, access to other team leaders. I'm not the only team leader here. There's incredible, Tina Pruitt, Robin Lynn, and there's many of you that are emerging as leaders. And I'll get to know more of you as we go forward. They want access to that, and this system gives them that access. It's so important. Most systems try to hide behind this system. It doesn't work. It works for the creator of the system, who have their own little network built, but it doesn't work for everybody, and it's not sustained. So this has 3 videos. We call it the comprehensive review. Again, this is where they land right after they enter that first lead capture page. They're getting emails, sending them here. They can click here if they're having trouble watching this video, and they get to SoundCloud. We might have that be a downloadable MP3. We'll keep improving and tweaking the system, this page. If you're a paying member, then you're going, which I'll talk about at the end of this, then you're going to be able to personalize this, which does have some advantages. If you're not, then they're asked to go to the email, and they'll find your name and email there. Because it'd just be impossible for us to put a personalized page for thousands of people that aren't paying for the system. We'd have to have a team of like 20 VAs to be doing that kind of stuff throughout the system. So, but again, the last system we had, which was extraordinarily successful, it didn't even take it this far. Like, we didn't have a personalized version of this at all. I did for me, but we weren't able to do it for everybody who was using the system for free. Now we're just offering that opportunity to those who want to help pay to support the system, but still offering everybody else the free version. If you're truly broke and you can't do that, you'll still be able to use the system. And we already know that's also going to be effective. Not as effective, but still effective. So we got, I think, 13 emails or something like that over the course of 30 days or so that are sending them in here. We'll be sending additional emails to them as well, taking them to live webinars that I have and all kinds of stuff. So those automated emails are just the beginning of what they get, but I really think it's plenty because it's such a simple process, just leading them to this page, and keeps encouraging them, watch the 3 videos and then take the next step. And it's telling them, do not email your guide until you've watched these 3 videos. It explains why that's a benefit to them, and why that's so important for the success of the system. And it keeps emphasizing following the instructions is key. And it tells them that when you're using the system, you're going to really appreciate that. And those who don't get it, we don't want them in the system. And again, I'll instruct you what to do when people break the rules, they're not paying attention, they're not following instructions, so you can respectfully get them get them on the path properly. So you're not overwhelmed with people that aren't going to do what they're asked to do, because those people typically waste your time, even if they come in. So this is the next step, and you might be wondering why isn't there the next step? Like, why don't we take them to the next step in an automated way? Why are we asking them to contact their guide after they watch these 3 videos? Why don't we automate it, Mike? This is one of the psychological aspects of this, and it's not done to manipulate. It's done because we understand human nature, we understand the needs of people, and we understand what people really want. When you automate something too much, it starts to feel very stale, robotic, and insensitive. And you know what it really feels like, particularly to the leaders that you really want to attract, that make things happen? It feels like they're going to sign up and there's nobody home. They're going to sign up and they're going to have to figure everything out on their own. And it's boring and they don't really know what's going on. And they've got this little dead, inhuman system. And it's just like, why? Like, why would they want that? When I'm shopping for something, and there are times where I've been just shopping for something, I go online, I'm searching, and whoever I sign up with is going to have a big payday. They're going to have to hardly support me. And boom, it's going to explode. I'm not the only one. There's lots of these. This is who we're attracting with this system. This is what you need. It's what you want. It's what makes things really go and keep going. It's what most systems can't do. If we had it all automated, I would be disturbed. I would I need to connect with somebody. I need to feel that somewhere, but I want it to be streamlined. I want it to be simple. I want it to be fast, but I need to know that they're accessible and I need to know that they understand the importance of that. High quality people get that and are looking for that. Low caliber people that really can't make much happen in your organization don't. We do not want a system like most systems that attract people that just don't have the power to do anything. You want a system that attracts people that are doers. You want a system that attracts people that are looking for a way to connect to leadership because they know that that's important and necessary when they need it. Really important. So there comes a point where we're asking them to do a lot before they can even ask us a question, and it's clear to them in the videos and in the emails later, so they can't even ask us a question until they watch these 3 videos. And they're told if they do, it's going to get sent right back to them. But if they do this work, if they give a little of their time to go through this, now they've earned the right to ask a question. Actually, not yet. They're told to email you and you're going to send them to the next step. Now, another thing that happens in psychology here is, or the main thing that happens in psychology is also curiosity. I first learned this with the Facts on Demand system I had, where I won't go into it, but it walked people through, this is in the 90s before we used the internet, it walked people through a series of steps. All the other people I was competing against were just given these sales pitches and your typical stuff. And I just created a similar process to this. It walked them through steps. And there was a point every once in a while they had to reach out to us, or they had to send $5 in the mail to receive more information, instead of just making it all automated. And people just, they almost want to do that. They want to see what's next. But if it's all automated and there's no connection, like, they just start to lose interest because there's no human interaction, and they start to feel like they're being over marketed to, and that no one really gives a damn about them. So there's reasons for this that have taken me years and years and years to learn, that I don't see a lot of people applying. I mean, there's a reason. So, and that's the crux of that one. So they're going to reach out to you by email, and I'll go into more training on this once we get going here, get launched, but I'll show you what to ask. When they email you, I'll show you what to ask back. And they know that you're going to ask them questions, and they know why. And they kind of know what questions that you're going to ask as well. And they know why it's important that they answer back. But they also know why they should answer back succinctly, not too long, and what the benefit is to them for doing so. If they're not listening, you're going to know that, and I'll be training you on what to do when you can tell they didn't actually watch the 3 videos and they're trying to say they did and that kind of stuff. Like, these are the things we have to watch out for. We need to put people in line. And I'll show you what to say and how to deal with that real easily so that your time is spent well. If a system doesn't just kind of automatically make you spend your time effectively, it's not a good system. If it's just bringing you a horde of people and there's just no process there to sort, to have that system helping you sort rather than sell, it's not a good system. So this is just, it's just almost impossible to screw it up as long as you just follow the simple steps, including the direction I'll give you on what questions to ask or what to do if it's clear they're not following directions. That's the human piece that you got to have that usually is missing from a system. That will attract high caliber people and make people that were ordinarily incapable of success become capable. Not everybody, but you'll be sorting for people that ordinarily in your typical system or environment would not be able to succeed because there's not enough structure and direction and correction when they get off path or ask off the wall questions or aren't doing what they're supposed to do, so they're wasting everyone's time, including their own. This gets them on track and helps them succeed. So this is a huge value for them. And you knowing that and understanding that changes the dynamics of all this, which is why I'm emphasizing this so much. So this next step, you're actually email after the questions and they answer the questions, which, you know, I'll train you on why that's important later and what to do when they answer certain ways and stuff. And again, if you find a leader, you're bringing them to me. And I'll define what that is and all kinds of stuff. And there'll be other people that are maybe you're not sure, and you'll bring them to a live webinar, and I'll be able to engage with them there. And if I find out, oh, there's somebody I do want to invest into, you know, that's going to be helpful to you in building your organization, then I'll maybe follow up with them after the call, that kind of thing. You need that. You need that kind of engagement. A system can't just be a system. That's the problem with most of them. It's got to have that part. So then you're going to send them a link to the second lead capture page. And this is where the system got a little dicey in terms of implementing it for 407 people out of the gate, and why we need to approach this a little bit differently and prioritize who we're building these systems for first, second, third. It got a lot more complex, but it's important. Because when they come here, they're moving into the second step. This is when we're going to introduce them to CWE. And it's really everything they need to know to make a decision and so forth. It's really important that they respect what they're entering into, first of all. So here's another psychological thing going on. Again, not for manipulation, but because we understand human nature and what they need to engage. They need to respect the process. So if they could have just clicked and come in here, they wouldn't have, they would have been out. But by them, you know, having that human engagement at this important pivotal point, and you asking questions to them and then them answering and them seeing that you're kind of keeping them in line. Some of them will test you. Even some of the good ones will test you. See if they can knock you off track, shake your tree, as it's been said. But you're going to be able to know how to keep them on track and keep it respectfully, but just keep them respecting the system, respecting the process. They're really, the good ones are going to appreciate that. And they're going to appreciate the human engagement too, the good ones. And so they're going to pay a lot more attention now when you send them this link. That's important. That's something a lot of people who know how to set up automated systems miss. It's big. And I think if you kind of think about it for a moment, you'll understand why. It's simple, but it's big. Human elements, everything. It doesn't have to be time consuming and hard, but it has to be. So you're going to send them here, they're going to watch another video, and it's reminding them in each step, you know, it's reminding them what the next step is and why it's important. You know, and every once in a while I'll change these videos. That's another advantage to those of you who are a paying member. You're going to be the first to get your systems updated when I test a new video and it works. Before, I wasn't able to do that for everybody. My last system I had, we had like thousands of people using it, and things were going extraordinarily well. It's not like we needed to update it, but I was doing things that was working awesome, and I wanted to give that to everybody, but it was impossible because we had so many people because we were offering it for free. Like, we have to have a priority of development. So when, you know, those of you that are paying members for this, like when I update my video, you're going to get your videos updated. That I will have tested and so forth. Not that they need to be, but we always want to keep improving and so forth. The first draft of the system is always the rough draft. It's never not worked, but I like to improve it over time. You guys that are paying members and contributing to the sustainability of this whole model and the development of it will benefit from that first, as I do that to mine. But anyway, so this video reminds them what they're going to get when they come on into the second step of the process. They enter their name and email again. Now, the reason for that is now the system can opt them out, automatically opt them out of the other first email campaign. So they'll no longer now get the other emails they were getting because they've already done that. Like the call to action for those other emails is to get them to watch those 3 videos in the comprehensive review. So we don't want them to keep getting those. So by opting in here, and there's other systems that are more advanced like Infusionsoft, there's ways we could set that up without them opting in again. But again, that would take a lot longer to develop and a lot more money and a lot more time. We need speed of implementation is huge. So instead of taking a month more to get all that hashed out, it'd probably take more than that with Infusionsoft. It's a crazy system. We're going to just have them enter their name and email again, works fine, and it opts them out of the other system, so they stop getting the other leads, and now they're in a new email campaign. So don't test it yet. Again, this is why we needed to change how we're prioritizing who we're building funnels for first, second, third, because it's just gotten overwhelming with so many people to implement this. Our VAs are working their tails off, and just because sometimes there's little mistakes they make and they're getting all these emails, it's just starting to slow it down way too much. So I'll let you know when it's time to test this. Those of you who become paying members today, you're going to have your funnels built right away because there'll be less of you. And then you can test and see the second wave of email campaigns, which have a different purpose than the first wave. The first email campaign that a lot of you saw was getting people to watch the first 3 videos in the comprehensive review. The second email campaign is walking them through the 4 videos that are inside when they opt into this, which is giving them an account. They'll have to log into this. And again, this is a psychology piece. By making them have to log in to access information, they will automatically value it more. It's just psychology. Some of you will automatically know that. Some of you not been in marketing much might not, but you can kind of see why. They're going to get an email with their own username and password. They have their own account. So this information's in there. It also helps because a lot of this is about crypto world evolution. And, I think we could have gotten away with having this on the outside, but crypto world evolution doesn't really want us showing screenshots of like successful bots because, again, other people might see that and start using it incorrectly. So it's kind of cool from the company's policy perspective that this is behind a username and password as well. They'll appreciate that. But in addition and beyond that, it's going to have people that are coming through the system respect the information much, much more than they would if it was just out in the open and so easily accessible. And that shouldn't be understated, the significance of that. It actually translates into significantly different results. That's been tested. That kind of stuff's been tested over and over again. A lot of you intuitively just kind of know how that works. So they're going to get a username and password. They log into here, and then the follow-up emails are constantly bringing them back through these 4 videos. And the 4 videos are the introduction, which just kind of sets this all up and gets them excited again to watch these videos and making sure they're clear on what it all means. And then this video is really the one about crypto world evolution. It's titled Reviewing First Tier Program, Crypto World Evolution. The third video goes into the compensation plan. Here it's just titled Crypto Commissions. I might change that title, but for now it's fine. It's going through the comprehensive compensation plan, which really does deserve its own video. It's quite comprehensive, but it's powerful. We want to make sure they understand it and that they understand the team building aspect and how it is really built and designed for us to be able to help them fast start it. And then how it works is going to talk about how they're going to get more emails that plug them into the second tier program. But we didn't want to give them the videos to plug into the second tier program here. Why? Because we want them to focus on crypto world evolution. We want to frame their questions and their focus around that now and have that be where the discussion is on. Now, if they don't move forward on this for a while, as the auto emails go out, they'll start to, some of them might be going, well, where's those second tier programs? I thought you promised this. I thought you promised that. And about when they're asking that question, if they haven't moved forward on anything yet, they're going to start getting those emails that deliver everything that was promised, including plugging into the second tier programs, learning about Trezor Wallet, Ledger Wallet, Binance. They're going to be plugging into your affiliate program. So even if they don't sign up into Crypto World Evolution, you're going to be getting some cryptocurrency commissions from those other programs and then tapping into those different products. So all that's going to come on the back end through the emails. But we don't want to give it to them here because we want them to really focus on the first tier program first. If you were to click on one of those, here's another view of it. It's the same area. That's if you click here, this comes up. And but it's not too much. It's not overwhelming. Just 4 videos, and then in the how it all works, it's leading them to the final step, which is to reach out to you to get their questions answered. This is when they get to ask their questions. Only after they've gotten this far have they earned the opportunity to ask you questions. And this is when you can invite them to webinars with me. They can meet me personally. If you find out from the way they've answered your questions that they're a leader or they have some marketing potential or what have you, then you might be able to connect them with me directly. And we can go from there. Because it's such a well-designed system that is so well leveraged, it allows me to be able to personally assist you guys and them and their people in a way that is extraordinarily unusual in the networking model. Because we're sorting and the system's sorting and the process, and you guys are all helping with very minimal effort, sorting for high quality, high caliber people. That's what you want. Everything from the mindset that we talked about today that it's emphasizing onto the emphasis of when they can ask questions and when they can't, and explaining to them up front why that's valuable to them. All of that has a psychological, profound impact on to attract the right people and to have the rest just fall off with minimal effort from all of us. As the follow-up emails continue, they're now in, we do need to deliver what we promised, and we want to plug them into the second tier programs because that's affiliate commissions for you guys on the back end, even if they don't get involved with Seaweed yet. And so the emails will start to walk them through this page. And this is going to be a little problematic for us, but we're going to pull it off. Another reason why we need to start charging for the system for some, because even people with the free system who end up in your downlines, I'm going to talk about how that is a powerful element for you guys generating massive leads. So sit tight here. Even the people that are coming to your downlines that are getting the free system are going to get this personalized page with their affiliate links, which is pretty incredible value. So their affiliate link, even if they didn't pay us anything for the system, they're going to get these bills. So there is a page that will be personalized for even the free members. And this is very well put together. Robin Lynn put this together. She did a fantastic job. And she made these videos that walks people through. And it's hard, man. This is hard work. Not just from the visuals, but you can tell her stuff's a lot prettier than mine. But also just the instruction and figuring out how to say it in a way that makes sense and just walking them through. And these are going to be your links when they go to, if they're going to buy Trezor, it's going to be your link. And of course, they can get their own affiliate link here, and then they're going to send us their affiliate links, and we're going to build them their own system, and they're going to get their own page like this. So the second tier affiliate links, even people for free, are going to get access to this. And this is going to motivate people to want to be involved. But before they can get a system, there's got to be things that they're going to have to do. For example, they need to go through these, and they're getting introduced to Binance. So they're probably, if they're not signed up with Binance already, they're going to sign up with your link. So if they ever now or in the future do trading on Binance, which is very probable as time goes on, you're going to get affiliate commissions. And again, so this is more long-term. It's not like a huge hit up front, but as your system's working for you anyway and sorting for Crypto World Evolution leadership, and we're helping you develop that, this is happening on the back end, even with people that don't get involved with Seaweed or that you may never even talk to, automatically. And it's huge value. It's a huge value proposition for people that are coming through your system to want to, they are going, wow, this is amazing. Like, so I can get this, and okay, I think I'll just start getting it for free. And then the relationship gets built. They get more tied in. They get more comfortable. More trust comes in, and they start asking more questions about Seaweed. I hope you guys see how powerful this is. It's a highly unusual, multi-layered, multifaceted system that taps into the necessities of human nature for them to be interested And if they're not, or they're standoffish, or they had a bad experience, to slowly but surely, through an automated way, build trust and lead the right ones to us in a maximum way. So yeah, and then at the bottom, if this will actually be personalized for everybody, even people who have the free system, have their name, their email, because you got to have your affiliate links in there, and we want to deliver on that promise. And then if they can't use Coinbase, because Coinbase was one of them, there's another page Robin put together, which is outstanding, that you'll be able to send people to. It says, can't use Coinbase. Above, we shared how to get Bitcoin at Coinbase for those in the US or UK. If Coinbase is unavailable in your area and you need help getting Bitcoin, click the button below for more options. This is really well put together.
Hello, Robin Lynn
and
here.
Robin's
ready to
London accent. This is a really cool page. And this is a great introduction. She teaches how to do GDAX, Kraken, Gemini, CoinJar, CoinTree, Pesa, CEX, Canada's Quad, I don't even know how to pronounce that, CoinSquare, Uphold, you get the picture. Even how to use a Bitcoin ATM, find one, use one, local Bitcoins. So really powerful, really, really powerful. That this resource is available for you guys all over the world to refer people to. Okay, so that's just some of the pages that make up the automation part of this system. Really, really involved and really, really powerful. And I can't even get into all of the aspects of it that make it so effective, but I think you're getting the point. And I'm not even going to be able to get into all the support on the back end. I think you kind of know, for those of you who've worked with us for a while, how extensive it is. But, you know, for example, right now, Robin's putting together a page that shows people how to set up their YouTube channel step by step. So they can just start plugging in my marketing to the YouTube channel to generate leads. You name it, you know, we're going to cover it. For example, you know, I talked about the team building aspect of the, for those that can see this, it's a little small, but this is like the document that's pretty complex inside Crypto World Evolution. They've got some pretty, you know, complex stuff. I'm going to be breaking this down for you and for your teams to understand what's going on in simple terms. You know, it's going to, the support part of this is also huge, a huge commitment. And it's stuff that you're not going to have to do to plug your team in even after they're signed in, so that they know what's going on and they're duplicating. I wanted to show you a slide in one of the presentations that's going to them to drive home some additional points about just how, I don't want to say strict we are with them, but there's a certain level of strictness, just how much guidance there is and clarity there is for them in terms of how that benefits them, and setting it up so that they're not wasting your time, and so it's sorting for the right people. It says here, slide at end of comprehensive review. That's just a note for us. This is a slide at the end of the comprehensive review. So after they watch the 3 videos, I just wanted to show you this to kind of, I referenced some of this, but I want you to see a little bit more detail of what I meant, because it's actually the most important part of the system that most systems just don't have. So it's saying contact your guide. And by the way, it's not just this, I'm talking to them, of course. This was just one of the slides guiding what I was saying. But it's saying to contact your guide. And it's saying don't ask too many questions yet, which is a really funny thing to say and throws them off, which also has a psychological benefit. Tony Robbins used to teach that. And I'm not doing it to manipulate. You got to understand, I'm doing it because it's effective at getting their attention, and by making sure that they don't ask too many questions, because that would kill the system. It would break it down. And I explain that to them so they understand that when they're using the system, they're really going to appreciate that no one's asking questions at this juncture, because they wouldn't know how to answer them. So that gets the system start working much faster, because people understand on both ends how to use it. You know, the giver, us, you, or them, if they sign up and they start using it right away, knows how to use it and how it should be used, but also the receiver right away is understanding how it should be used. So it's like a win-win collaboration from the start, instead of somebody not getting it, asking these off-the-wall questions, not watching videos, and not wondering why you're not being more service-oriented. I explain to them it's impossible when you have a system like this that's so effective to answer random questions from people that aren't educating themselves with the system that are just coming at you all the time. The whole point is to make our lives simpler and to be able to, tap into leverage, and that they're going to appreciate that. This is all explained to them. It's explained that they're going to have, you're going to have some questions for them. And it's asking them, I'm going into detail on that they should answer succinctly. And I'm explaining why that's a benefit to them. This is all before you even engage with them, guys. I'm explaining to them that you're going to, when it says they, it's that you're going to direct them to their next step. They understand what's going on. They're being educated through this process, which makes your life 1,000 times easier. And what it really boils down to, makes your time significantly more efficient, because you're not wasting time with the wrong people. You're not asking dumb questions, questions that would have been answered if they would have watched the video. It's explaining that they're going to get access to their own private area with their user and passcode. So I'm setting up here the value of what's coming next. It doesn't just sound like a pitch. It sounds like something of value that's protected. And it is. It takes a lot of time to put this together. It's extremely valuable. And you want to have things set up in such a way that it spotlights that and it reinforces that fact. And doesn't just make it seem like it's just something that you could find like trash on the street, which is what most systems look like. They just put their stuff everywhere like spam, and it just doesn't seem valuable, because it really isn't. A lot of it, of course, some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. A lot of it's just marketing. It's not actually solving a problem. It's describing that in the private area they're going to have access to, which I showed you guys a screenshot of. This is kind of going back. It's going to describe the first and second tier process, this first and second tier program. It's going to talk about they will study the Autobot program, the first tier crypto commission program, and then saying, then you can get your questions answered. So they're understanding all of this. So if they're coming to you, you're going to know if they didn't watch this, because they're not going to be getting any of this. And I'll be showing you exactly how to respond when that's the case, so that you have posture. A lot of you have heard these terms. It's extremely important. And not so you have false posture, but the necessary posture for them to succeed and you to succeed. We're all going to understand how to use this system to foster that from the beginning. And then it's telling them to contact their guide. And it's going to say either check email or look on this web page, which again is why for the paying members, it's going to be advantageous to have your name and email right on that page. It's definitely advantageous. And that will lead them to their next step. So they're understanding, they're being guided through this whole process. Okay, guys, let me see what time it is and drink some tea. My voice is fading on me. 1 second, we're almost done here. So I talked about empowering those who are broke but motivated. You do not want to leave people like that behind. I was there once. And, a lot of people who are broke aren't motivated, but there's a group of people who are. And, they're not poor. Some people have defined it this way. If you're being broke doesn't necessarily mean you're poor. If you're broke, it's temporary. And, this is just a certain framing to understand this difference. And if you're poor, then it's permanent, because it's your mindset and there's no will to change it. Nothing wrong with working people who are broke, down on their luck, as long as they're motivated. So one of the messages we want to convey throughout this system is the value of that. And we're going to do everything we can to support people who are in that situation and to create a collaboration that's a win-win, so they're not a drag on the system, because you can really mess yourself up if you don't know what you're doing. If you collaborate with a huge number of people who are broke, you can sink the ship fast. You can become overwhelmed, exhausted, and penniless. So you have to know what you're doing. And we all need to know what we're doing. Here's how to properly create a collaboration with those who are broke but motivated, so that you can generate massive leads in that collaboration, and the time that you're spending with them isn't a waste of time. And so they have an opportunity like nowhere else to turn their life around. And you can feel really good about the exchange, and they will too. Let me explain what you're looking at here. I'm giving you content to post to your YouTube channel. Let's say you're following it diligently, but you're not real into it. You're not creating your own videos. Let's say you're doing it for about 6 weeks. You're only getting about 5 leads a week. but you're getting consistently 5 days a week and 5 leads a week, and it would actually be adding up because the videos you posted 5 weeks ago are still getting some leads, and then the videos you posted 4 weeks ago are still getting the leads. So it starts to manifest into more and more leads. But let's just say it's manifested right now into 5. As you keep going, it'll become more. But here's what I want you to understand. All of these people with arrows and numbers represent people that are using the free system. And the number of leads they're getting. And so, some of these will, like this one only got 1, is getting 1 a week. This one maybe just started, they're getting 1 a week. This one maybe has a lot of time on their hands, really motivated, has been at it for 5 weeks as well. They're let's say they're not paying for the system. We've given them the free system. We're giving them the content on YouTube. We're showing them how to do all this stuff, and they're getting 14 leads a week. This one's getting 1. This one's getting 4, 2. Not a lot of leads, but together this represents you getting 170 leads a week. Because you might be going, wait a minute, but none of these people are paying for the system. Like maybe they didn't even buy Seaweed. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. You might be getting really concerned, saying, well, if they didn't buy Seaweed, then I'm not making any money here. Guys, what you got to understand is when they're bringing in these leads, it's finding people like me. You want massive leads. Some people are too broke to do a darn thing but to work. We want to give them a way to work to help you get more leads. Most of you who have worked hard at different opportunities have never really had great success because you never had great leads. Now, maybe you bought leads somewhere and you are cold calling them. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not a good lead. A good lead is somebody who saw content, responded to it themselves, clicked, entered name and email, and went through a funnel like we're talking about, where they're required before they can even ask a question to go through all these steps and processes. That's a good lead. Most of you have never had success because you've never had enough good leads coming your way. You want to just be inundated with good leads, so many that you have to start giving them to your downline. You get there and you just hang on for dear life, and you can't help but succeed very quickly from that moment. So the goal is to leverage this system, including those that maybe are broke but motivated, and give them a way to duplicate the process so they can start generating leads and then bringing those to you until you're so saturated with leads, you maybe at that point you don't take any more free members anymore, and any people who want to sign up for free, you give them to somebody who's new in your organization who does want to get to that point. We want to get you all to the point where you have so many great leads that you're able to sign up so many people in your organization that things just happen magically fast. That's always where my mind is. Like, that's where I have to get first. If I don't get there, I'm nowhere. That's the point of creating the system. That's the point of everything. That's all I think about at first. If I can't get to the point where I have so many great leads coming my way that I'm inundated and overwhelmed, then nothing magical is going to happen. And so and once you get to that point, you're like, okay, I can't take any more leads. It's a great place to be. Someone's like calling you up going, I'm really interested in this Autobot. I watched all the videos. Like, I'm thinking about, the pro level. And you're like, sorry, man, I'm too busy. That's where you want to be. And then you go, let me hook you up with Sally. She's awesome. She'll be able to answer your questions. And then they hook up with Sally, and then maybe Sally, after they enroll, you meet them again. Like, you got to get to that point or nothing magical is going to happen. The question is, how do you get there? Well, you don't want to do it all by yourself. I'm always looking for, there's always different ways to accomplish it, but I'm always looking at the moment and the audience and the situation and the system and the moment in time. Say, how do we leverage this to get to massive leads, not just for me, but for others? And the cool thing about this is it's free. I'm creating the content. We're going to run with it. As we move into the ad co-ops and maybe some other things, that's also going to be additional leverage, but that won't be the people who don't have any money that are broke. I just wanted to show you that even the people who are broke, because you might be thinking, I don't want to work with people like that. Like, this is going to bog me down. No, if you approach it with the right mindset, you don't let people waste your time. You let them know what we're doing, how the system works. You make sure they've gone through this process. You respect the process that I'm showing you. You're going to attract quality people that are willing to go to work, and they're going to post the content on the YouTube channel, and collectively you're going to get so many leads you're going to be finding people like me, or finding people that are great marketers, or finding people that are great networkers. And as you find them, you're going to bring them to me, and I'm going to help you develop them. Goal number one, get more leads than you can handle that are coming to you interested. And then figure out, okay, now how do I start handing those off to key people in my organization and get them inundated with leads, and so on and so forth downward. And this is a way to empower those who are broke, but motivated. And they kind of have to be motivated to get through our system and get to you in the first place for massive leads much faster. And then here's another diagram. I just wanted to drive home the point. Within all those leads will be leaders, always. So a lot of people just don't understand. Like, they're in there. But most of you just never get to the point where you have enough coming your way to find them. Think of everything in terms of systems, processes. Be emotionally connected to the process, knowing how much it can change your life. Like, this isn't just information. This isn't just a mechanism. This isn't just a system. This is like, I don't know what it is for you. I got some really emotional, compelling reasons to be working so hard and to be seizing this opportunity and to be creating all of this. I don't know what it is for you. It doesn't need to be anywhere near the motivation I have. It doesn't need to be as emotional. I'm not nearly as intense as Elon Musk. We all fall on that scale somewhere, but you do got to fall on that scale. Like, you do need to find some kind of emotional connection to this. Can't just be information. You got to see it and feel it, or you're not going to follow through, no matter how great it is. You got to think about what you want out of all of this and realize that's what this is. It's a portal to that. And it doesn't have to take forever. Absolutely not. In fact, it shouldn't. I know a lot of people are like, we don't need to be in a hurry, and I get that. No, you don't need to be in a frustrated hurry, but there's ways to do things where you can fold a piece of paper and like get there now. It doesn't need to take a long time. It doesn't need to be like a typical linear process. We can tap into leverage. And you want to get emotionally excited about that, or you're probably not gonna, no matter how great everything here is to do that with. I wanted to show you this because in addition to the last slide where you had the free people doing stuff, you also have people like me, or people that maybe aren't as intensive marketers but good at marketing, tapping into the system too and bringing in their own lot. And so, like, here's one getting 55 a week. They're doing their own videos. You're going to get those people too that run with it, that do extra. Because when you're bringing enough leads, going through the numbers and the system sorting, and you got someone like me helping you with the webinars and connecting one-on-one, and this is what happens. Now you got 270 leads a week. It's just impossible not to succeed when you're in that situation if you just show up. This was a slide that was in one of the presentations to the prospects, but I wanted to share it with you to kind of get you in the right mindset, because CWE is a network marketing program, but it's because of the way we've packaged it, and because crypto is here, and because they're so innovative, it is not your typical network marketing program. So any baggage that you might have or that a prospect might have, we want to really get in the right mindset and understand that none of that past has to do with our present at all. This is not your typical network marketing program. First of all, I'm providing you with the system. That's a lot of work out of the way. Literally years to develop the knowledge. I'm creating the marketing content for you. That's an insane amount of work out of the way. Ongoing. This isn't canned marketing content that I create and tell you to use that's just stale. This is like ongoing, fresh, new content that I'm using that you get to use. The team and I, and you guys are part of the team, this was again created for prospects, but I want to kind of run through this with you because it really highlights just how unique of a situation this is, like to tap into the power of the networking model without a lot of the hangups and baggage that typically come, and challenge that typically comes with it. The team and I, the team is you as well, are showing you how to use the system, how to set up YouTube, and they got the community support. It's kind of crazy. You guys see the support in there. And we're going to be even much more organized. Once I'm done with this, my focus is going to turn on to supporting the community. I haven't been able to do that because I'm building the system. You have the first tier program, CWE, but also the second tier programs is working on autopilot on the back end, We're identifying and developing the leaders your system locates. You are surrounded by cryptocurrency enthusiasts and support. I mean, I've learned so much about cryptocurrency just by hanging out in those groups. You keep the leads you generate and build an online presence that you get to walk away with. You are learning how to market without all the grunt work typically experienced in the learning process that usually weeds people out. And you're building a network that transcends beyond this moment and opportunity, meaning the social media on your YouTube channel, your relationship with me and with the other team leaders, and your organization that you're building, and the email list. This is a network that's valuable, even if this didn't exist anymore, what we're doing. You get to take all that with you, and your prospects do too. It's really, really valuable. You get to email those leads forever. Now, I do not want anybody emailing leads about other opportunities or other things while you're using this system, or while CWE's still here, while I'm using the system. But if we decide to do something else or what have you, and you don't agree with it, you get to take the leads then. Like if we leave CWE, something changes 3 years from now, you still own the network that you created. And we're setting this up in such a way that we can, if something were to happen to CWE, if something were to happen with regulatory compliance, we can switch in, the way this is all framed, we can switch in a new first tier program. And that's good for CWE, for us to know that, because it builds faith in the process. It builds trust that what we're building is going to be here for a long time. So we don't have to have hesitancy or fear that's going to fall out from underneath us. You're building a network that transcends beyond this moment and opportunity that you get to take with you. And we get to adjust the system if we need to, so that it's sustainable and long term. And we get to add more second tier affiliate programs as well. We get to continually evolve and develop this. Okay, let's talk about the different options for getting involved. Let's wrap this up. The free level, you get access to the system just like before. You know, if you're not going to pay for the system, totally okay. If you just absolutely can't, we still want to be here for you. We just can't have the same, we can't have the same priority of developing your system with those that can help pay for it, or we're not going to make it. It's too comprehensive of a system. It's too expensive to support. I've spent 15 grand with no money coming in from it in the last after the first, it will be 15 grand in about 2.5 months. Just can't sustain that any longer. And also it's too limiting in terms of me evolving it and developing it to the next level. But I still want to support those at the free level. You still get access to the system at the free level. You'll have personalized emails, still name in your email, and that affiliate page I showed you with your affiliate links for the second tier program. But you will be last in line to have the funnel built. We have to switch to that. And I know some people might be bummed to hear that. We have no choice if we want to succeed. I pushed it as far as I possibly could. Financially, economically, and it's just obvious, it's just going to take way too long to get momentum and make this thing fly fast and now. And everybody needs that. Everyone's going to benefit from it, even those at the free level. Because if the system isn't here and I'm not able to do this, then no one's going to benefit at the free level. So this is a way for you to benefit. And I hope you guys understand that. So we have to put you last in line to have the funnel built, last in line to have updates to the funnel and updates to the email. So for example, if I add a new email to my system, those that are paying are going to get that added. That's something we can handle. But it would have never happened for anybody if we were obligated to do that for everybody. It's impossible. We need a team of like 25 people full time. And again, what I'm aiming to do is also have some revenue coming in from this to put into developing a system where I can build my own system, which I've done before. It just takes longer, and we can have this even systematized and made better and better and better. But right now, the way it stands, it would be impossible to update that stuff for everybody. But for some of the things, sometimes we'll be able to do it. If it's really important, we'll find a way. But to do it on every page, on everything, would be impossible at the free level. Community pages instead of personalized pages. So that was just like it's always been. Sometimes I do a webinar, for example. Quite often I'll do a webinar and then I'll put the recording up and we'll be emailing the list. Oftentimes you'll see a community page. There's nothing of your personal information on there. There's no button to your sign up. And by the way, I think CWE just came out with a link where people can sign up automatically. So on some of these pages, I'll be able to, for those of you who are at the paying level, on some of these pages we put up, like with a replay of a webinar that we might do, and we're sending emails out about it. I'm writing emails for you, you're sending them out, and maybe you're sending some out that I give you instruction on, and then we're directing them to the replay. If you're at the paid level, you'll be able to have like a link there to your CWE sign up. But if you're at the free level, you'll get the community page and it'll be telling them to reach out to you for that link or to look in the email for the link. So it's just a little bit of an extra step that they have to take. That's how we've always done it before, but I've always wanted to give people the opportunity to have personalized pages like I created for myself. So those at the paid level will get that extra step, the extra benefit. The free level will get to listen in on the webinars, but you're not going to be able to personally interact because it's impossible. It's impossible for me to personally interact with hundreds and hundreds of people. So I hope you understand that this is just impractical for it to be any different. Free lead funnels get built on first come, first serve basis. So what this means is when you're doing your marketing and one of your prospects come, if you're at the free level and one of your prospects wants a free system as well, like we're going to do everything we can to get that built, but we have to deliver building the free systems for the paid members first, because we need to create an incentive for those that are helping us pay for the sustainability of this thing. And also to be able to have income to even hire more people if necessary, to be able to provide more value even to the free members. Boy, I want you to understand about all this, guys, for those of you that are in a situation where you're not able to be a paid member, is that you're getting everything you were anticipating in the system so far anyway. Like you're not getting anything taken away. Like this is what you were getting already. And I think that's important to understand. I guess what we're saying is, I guess the one thing that is happening is you're being prioritized last in line for updates and to get your funnel built whenever we're updating funnels, or like right now we're launching funnels. And I guess, that's one thing that changes you, but you don't get the lucky straw of perhaps having your funnel built first. And we have to do that because we have to create a priority incentivization for people to want to help fund. I know some of you would do it anyway, but which is wonderful. I mean, we have a great community that's, shows a lot of gratitude. But from an economic perspective and a practical perspective, we need to create an incentive for those who want to help support and who are going to just end up supporting the sustainability of the system and allow it to even exist and to improve. There's actually 2 more levels, and I didn't say this in the Facebook post. It was something I decided last minute when I really started to dive into all of this. There'll be a pro level and an elite level. This is something I did talk about like 6 months ago, but we never implemented. The pro level will be $100 once every 3 months. So again, you're not paying $100 a month for the pro level. You're paying $100 once every 3 months, which breaks down to about $33 a month. I mean, as you can tell, we are not trying to make a killing on this thing whatsoever. What I'm trying to do is get to break-even point as soon as possible, and maybe even soon make extra to be able to develop a new system with it. To develop this much further and make it more powerful for all of us. So the pro level, $100 once every 3 months, you would pay by Bitcoin or PayPal. You would get your name and email on the comprehensive review page. So I showed you an example of that. Like that's what I did. Before we always just had a community page and we tell them to go to the email to find you, but that extra step is not as ideal, is having your name and email on that comprehensive review page where those 3 videos are. And it will say team leader. And I do reference in the video that, a team leader is somebody that is, really an active contributor to the organization. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing if you're not. It just helps them know that they're working with somebody that, is an active contributor in the organization. If you're not a team leader, you're not paying, I just want to say, you just want to work closely with a team leader. If you're a doer, They're going to be glad to work with you, and you'll be able to connect your hot prospects, the ones that are leaders or marketers that want to work with, AKA team leaders. You'll just be able to connect them up. And it shouldn't be long that you're making the revenue to be able to, participate in this stuff a little bit more if you do have to do the free level. But those that do the $100 every 3 months, name and email on the comprehensive review page, so it's personalized. You'll also get personalized pages instead of community pages. So again, I mentioned this earlier, if I do a webinar, which I will, or some kind of video that goes deeper into the topic, and we email out the list, and I give you an email to send your list, and I email out the list, and we're sending them to that new webinar or video. If you're a free member, you get a community page, which is telling them just to go look in the email and find the name and email to reach back out to you. But if you're at the pro level, the button will be right there for them to sign up, or your name and email will be right there on the page for them to sign up, which, definitely removing that extra step and putting that right there is going to have, short run and long run more advantages. Weekly webinar, you'll get second dibs on interactive problem solving. What I mean by that is, and again, we just have to prioritize, because there's only so many hours in the day, right? There's only so many people I can talk to. And we want to reward people that are contributing more to all of this. So there's another level called Elite that's going to be able to ask questions to me first on this weekly webinar. And by the way, I'll do it more than once a week. I don't want to promise more than once a week in case we got all kinds of things going on. I'm creating all this marketing content and so forth. But I will be doing them more than once a week. But I am going to do at least a weekly webinar. And those that are at the pro level will be able to interact with me. Those at the free level will listen in, and you'll be learning that way. And of course, you'll be working with your uplines and your team leaders if you're at the free level. But those of you at the pro membership will be able to interact personally with me. It's just that will be after I've answered all the questions and worked with people who are in the elite status. And so there'll be times, depending on the numbers on the calls, there might be some weeks that you won't be able to get to me. But if I hear that that's the case, obviously, then you just text me, or if you're at the pro level, and I'll make sure that you will have access to me. Second in line for setup on new lead capture pages. So when we're creating new lead capture pages, I come out with a new one. You'll see it, you'll know about it. We're going to build the elites first. So things are going to move faster. Like, we're going to be able to identify, okay, there'll only be 25 elites at this time, and we might hire more people and bring that up to 50, but right now there'll only be 25 elites, which I'm going to go over in a second. We'll build them first. That's fast. That's easy. We know who they are. It's not confusing to our group. Like, it's just been a big mess. It's slowing us way down because there's like everybody that we have to build for, and it's just not practical. But now when I come out with a new lead capture page, my team's going to know, okay, build that for the elite right now. Like, they'll be able to whip that out in a day, and then next in line will be the pros, and they start whipping through that in a couple of days. Everything's going to be so much more efficient because the team's going to know who they're focused on first, who they're focused on second, and it's just not going to be such a mess. And they're not going to have everybody emailing them at the same time. It's just not practical the way we have it set up, economically or even just from an implementation standpoint. And then the pro member will get second in line for setup on new landing pages. So a new landing page is just any page that I create, like a webinar we put up that we're going to email. Like, that's still pretty fast because there's only going to be 25 right now elites, which, boom, that's fast, that's easy. And then you'd be next. And then second in line to build your team's free prospect funnel. So again, elites would have first dibs, but there's not that many of them, so that's not going to be bottlenecked. And then second in line will be those that are at the pro membership, which again is still going to be speedy because there's only 25 elites. So I'm only going to allow 75 people at this level right now because I don't want to be overwhelmed with this. It doesn't mean we won't open it up to more later or that we can't hire more VAs. I just want to enter into this with a practical number, and I'm bringing in a whole total of 100. I feel like that's reasonable. We can adapt and adjust this as we go, but I need to see what it's like. I want to get 100 people system set up. Let's just put it that way. I want to get 100 people system set up. I want to get launched and not have this big chaotic implementation mess that we're having with 407 people all at once. It's just not working. So 75 pros that we're going to let in, and then here's the elite, $300 with Bitcoin or PayPal once every 3 months, which again only comes to $100 a month. This is going to just be the group that I'm really working closely with because you're helping support the sustainability of the system, and it just creates a real good win-win, and a win for everybody, quite frankly, that we have more stability, we have sustainability, and we can keep developing and improving this, and we know what the priorities are when we're implementing things. So again, they're going to get name and email on comprehensive review page, just like Pro does. Personalized pages instead of community pages, just like Pros. So everything that I'm personalizing on my pages, a button that goes right to signing up in SeaWe, which they have now as of, I think, today, or your name and email instead of people having to go to their email address to find it. Team leader status, of course. Weekly webinars, so once a week or more, once a week minimum, except for when I'm on vacation. You're going to get first dibs on interactive problem solving. So you guys will be able to show up to that and know that, I'm going to address your questions and, everything first, and hunt down answers to your problems, help you solve them. First in line and by the way, others listening in are going to benefit from that tremendously. First in line for setup on new lead capture pages. So I set up a new lead capture page, and the team's going to just know. It's going to be so cool because they're just going to know that they make that for you guys. Like, it just happens, and 25 people, they can get through that in a day. It's going to happen very quickly, and you're going to know it's coming fast, and then they're going to be able to know it. It's just going to be so much easier. First in line for setup on new landing pages. So again, I do a webinar or I create a new video, instead of it just taking forever and maybe never, like it has been because it was too many people. You're going to know that you're going to get it right away. Whatever's fresh, new, etc. First in line to build your team's free prospect funnels. So you've got a new prospect that went through the hoops and went through the steps and understands and respects your time and is willing to follow the process. And maybe you're going to give them to Sally or Jane or Tom in your group to work with. When you send that in, our team's going to immediately know that you're at the elite level, and they're going to put that at the top of the list. Now, some of you might be worried, like if you're in the pro level, what if there's just so many of those that the pro level never gets dealt with? It's not going to work out like that. There's going to be actually a VA that's backing this up for the pros. So if there is a point of bottlenecks, just which the elites are just totally taxing us on setting up their free prospect funnels, we are going to make sure that someone steps in and gets the pros going in a quick, reasonable time. Free members are going to have a tougher time unless you can partner up with somebody in your upline who's an elite that can help you get those plugged in. What we're having to do, this is just out of necessity, and I hope you guys understand that are in a situation where you can't pay. It's absolutely impossible with the numbers that we have to not create a prioritized tier type model. It's just, hopefully that's obvious. We pushed the envelope on it, and it's hurting everybody that we haven't done this yet. And then first in line to join our co-op advertising rotators. I mentioned that earlier that we want to do this, and it's something I do want to open up to everybody, but I think for obvious reasons, it's not so easy to manage that, the questions that come up, the management of costs and so forth, and communicating results and stats. If you have too many people with that too soon, it's overwhelming. I've tried that before. I just don't want to have too many people. So I'm going to start with the elite group and give you guys the first option. Again, I'm really going to focus on free leads, as I talked about earlier, for a while. But within the next 3 months, I want to set up this co-op. I just wanted you to know that I will be going to the elites first to offer them the opportunity. And what that is, for those that don't know, is we pool our funds together, and I do the advertising, and then it goes to a single email, single URL web address, but the leads that come in rotate between everybody. So when a lead comes in, it goes to the first person in line, then the next lead goes to the second automatically, the next lead goes to the third, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just excited to get that going because I want to expand that out, but it might take quite some time to move beyond the elite group and be able to manage that for a large number of people, because as you expand the amount of advertising you're doing in the ad budget, it gets harder and harder to manage. So I need to start with a smaller group. We have to start somewhere, so it makes sense to start with them, or at least give them the opportunity, and then pros would have the second dibs if they didn't weren't enough people that wanted to do it. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention, we are going to be, it's going to be a while. Well, we don't know that for sure. Anything can happen, but I often get people pitching me, great programs. And we will be looking at adding additional programs to our system, not in the immediate future. I love CWE and we want to focus on CWE for our first year program. But those of you that want to be able to ask me what I think about a program, or is this something we might be interested in adding? Maybe it's a second tier program and you might benefit from it in some way by referring me to it. I just wanted you to know that you'll have my ear for that kind of stuff and other stuff. I really want to build, kind of a close relationship with the elites. You're helping sustain and help support the system, and I want to return the favor and create a collaboration that's long term, and that just kind of spill over into all kinds of things. I want you to know that that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for with the elite group. So that's it in a nutshell. Let me see if I have anything else for you. Just to emphasize, prioritization, which is what this allows us to do, allows us to move much faster. We've just been totally bogged down by the number of people that are, excited and seeing maybe a change that needs to be made to their email or this or that. But it just creates this inundated number of emails. It's impossible for our VAs to manage the way it's set up. So this benefits everyone to have it set up this way. I wanted to mention the deadline for joining Elite because I want to launch this thing. So the deadline for Elite is Wednesday. Again, I don't think it's a huge sum of money, so I think those that want to be in that group, it's plenty of time. And then the deadline for Pro is Saturday. So first we'll get the Elite set up, get them launched and going, and then we'll get the Pros set up and get them launched and going. We'll have 75 people at the Pro level, 25 people at the Elite level. And then once they're set up and going, guys, then we'll build the free funnels. Otherwise, it's going to take way longer for everybody. There's no doubt about it. And you just send $300 if you're in Elite, or $100 if you're in Pro, either in Bitcoin. Make sure it's the right price. Go check what it is and send the right amount, or use PayPal if you don't have enough Bitcoin or it's all tied up. I'll post the address for where to send the Bitcoin and the address to send the PayPal in the VIP group. In fact, I'll do that any second. And then, go to VIP Facebook group and you'll see this information. It seems like there's something else I wanted to mention. I think that's it, guys. Bottom line, I'm really excited about CWE, and don't think that my emphasis on the system and everything else is in any way to be interpreted that I'm not. It's just that marketing is far more effective and sustainable and long term when you can meet audiences' needs where they're at and then lead them in and help them come to the conclusion that CWE is awesome, but not on the front end, or they think you're pitching and selling. I'm really excited about CWE. It was tough there for a while when the market was sinking. And as I started this call out saying, there's no 100% confirmation yet that we're in a bull market yet. It's going up for sure, but there's a lot of indications that it's close if we're not there now. And I think this is a really exciting time. The HPSI bot, not the best to use in a bear market, but phenomenal to use in a bull market. Now, I want to end this by saying, not financial advice. You got to make your own decisions. My expertise is in marketing. My expertise is on putting systems together that allow massive leverage. Most of you over the years or recently have seen me do that in a number of different ways. So I think you know that. That's where my experience is. That's what I know, and that's what I'm passing on to you, and that's what I'm confident in 100%. I personally believe the cryptocurrency market is a phenomenal, way to gain leverage. It's a little tricky navigating it first, learning how to do it. But I think because we have such a solid group here that's been working together in crypto for a while now and has gone through some hard knocks and hard lessons, that new people entering into this system are in phenomenal hands. And I think you guys that have been here a while, can have a lot of confidence in yourselves and in that experience and in the group together, to know that the people coming into the system and entering in are really lucky and fortunate to be with us, to be with you. and not just to have this system, but to have this community. So I'm really, really excited about this in so many different ways. I'm going to be running with it, and I'm really excited to work with those of you who are going to be running right along with me. I'm going to make a post in the Facebook VIP group right now. For those of you who want to join, again, deadline for Elite is Wednesday because we want to get you going. And then deadline for Pro is Saturday. Oh, and by the way, you're not obligated to pay every 3 months. Like if you don't like what happens, if you don't like the experience, you don't need to pay again in 3 months. Like you're not obligated in any way, shape, or form. But if you love it, and I think you will, I think you'll be happy to pay. I think you'll find it to be a very small amount of money in comparison to what you're getting. I'm not doing this to make money off the system. I'm doing it just because it's been such almost impractical dilemma and challenge to try to fulfill everybody's needs equally without some kind of economic element making it sustainable and practical. So I hope you guys understand that can't and just are in a position where you can't pay. And hopefully it's priced low enough where that's really not an issue. I mean, I did everything I could to make that possible. I really want to support all of you. And I really think, when I talked about how you can generate massive leads, I really think the free element, like I embrace it. I'm excited to bring new people in for free. But again, it needs to be practical. It needs to make sense. And we're going to explain that in the marketing, by the way, so that people coming in for free know they might go on a waiting list if they're coming in for free, and they'll understand why, and that will make sense to them. And we'll play it by ear. It might come to a point where we can't do the free anymore, but I'm gonna really try to do it because on a lot of levels, and some of them I explained today, I think it's really powerful and can create a wonderful win-win if we can bring more and more into the fold. All right, guys, I will make a post in the VIP group. Look forward to working with you. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye, everybody.